So let's start with introductions first. I'm Liam, the Game Master. Should we start with you, Seb?
Yeah, I'm Seb, and I'm playing Tumbleheart Baraka III.
I think we should also do like a, just for those who didn't see the first episode, like a little description of your character.
For those who didn't see the first episode, Tumbleheart Baraka III is a living plant man who also happens to be
Plant person, Seb.
person who also happens to be a pompous knight historian.
Hi, I'm Harry. I'm playing. What are you? What?
You're looking
what?
at me. Talk to the
No,
camera.
it's there. I'm looking there. I'm
Okay.
looking vaguely there.
Oh, sorry.
I'm Harry. I'm playing.
Quality content.
Okay,
Harry's
no,
sorry. Harry's
no
very
swearing,
stressed.
No swearing. I'm sorry. So I'm playing Stev. He's a lovely round boy. He's a sort of human, sort of woodsman type character, and he's got a really nice dog
Really? Okay.
that everyone really enjoys the presence of.
I'm her Bavis. I know I'm Shannon.
There it is. That's a deep dive.
She gets very in the mode. Method acting D&D.
She's got weapons and a tattoo.
And good teeth.
Good teeth.
Good teeth.
I'm Sam. I'm playing Tetsu. He's a big blue boy with 4 eyes and hair like a sunset.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, it's good. Cool. Harry, are you doing all
The
right?
colour of a sunset.
I'm just
Happy
turning the
Thanksgiving.
mic up a bit.
Okay. Cool.
Apparently that is necessary.
All right.
Happy
Yeah, I mean,
Thanksgiving.
we're still figuring out how all of this stuff works. So if anyone wants to shout at us on the stream chat and tell us what we're doing wrong, and Harry's fitted in with things,
Also,
I'm sure this won't backfire at all.
Let's hope that doesn't backfire at all.
All right.
Shout out to us if it gets.
Apologies if it's too
Shout out
echoey to
us,
anyone
it's also
listening.
good for the algorithm. So.
Okay.
Do as much as you want.
So for anyone who doesn't know, the setting we're playing in is based on the video game Caves of Cards. As always, thank you to Freehold Games for giving us permission to play in their setting. Of course, the game itself is very kind of esoteric in its lore, so this is just kind of my understanding, interpretation of it. Sometimes I change things in the world and so on. Just in case there's any hardcore Caves of Cud fans here who don't want me meddling with the lore.
How dare you?
Yeah. Anything else for the group to say before we start?
No, let's go.
Let's bring it
Let's
up.
do it.
Let's bring
I'm
it up.
ready.
Let's
Unless
get it
anyone
on.
wants to come see the Winter's Tale at
Oh
Loud.
no, you wouldn't.
And also, if anyone's around
7:30.
the space from the 10th to the 14th of December.
No one knows what these things are.
But they will.
But they could.
But they will. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
If you're
Okay.
London-based, come on down.
Yeah.
If you're not, go anyway.
Yes.
Keep your day for it. Let's play D&D.
Let's play
Visit the
D&D.
capital, The dice capital.
Yeah, but it's not capital as in like.
No, I know, but I was
Okay.
trying to make it. I was trying to
It was a
segue,
joke.
man.
It was a joke.
Oh, sorry. I'm not good with jokes. All right. Anyway,
Yeah, no, I got it. Don't worry, I got you back.
let's
Laugh at mine, please. Okay.
let's recap. So last time in the salt marsh Joppa on the edge of the sacred jungle Cud, a group of wanderers were brought together by fate. You all gathered in the village Shem for your own reasons, and you were caught in the devastation of a rogue Esper attack. Summoning thralls enslaved by their psychic will, this Esper set to slaying all they could, with some losses on your side. Plenty of farmers, a soldier working under Hababus, Tetsu's mentor, Lucky. You slew the thralls and oh yeah, Ulu as well, Shem's warden. You did manage to slay these thralls, and the Esper fled through a portal into the jungle. You then held an audience with Einod, the Water Baron, who holds sway over Joppa, and she charged you with hunting down and killing this Esper in exchange for 60 bubbles of water. That is 60 days worth, about 90 litres, if you care about technicalities. A lot of water. This would make you...
That is a lot of water.
So, thanks to Hababus asking for a stay for everyone here, you have since been led to a series of rooms carved into the red sandstone of Red Rock. As I said before, it's this kind of large, sudden, steep sandstone monolith that rises from the salt marsh. Steps have been kind of carved into it, coming up to Einod's barony, but mostly people don't trespass here. The rooms you're in are very simple, just a doorway fixed into a small room which just has raised stone platform for a grass bed, a couple of wooden stools, small bronze disc holding some oil that provides what illumination there is. You're given some degree of privacy by just a curtain. No swinging doors here. What is everyone doing in their own private quarters? Actually, sorry, one other thing I should say, as before, when you came to this place first, it was just a straight stairway down into this kind of chamber where you spoke with Einod, but coming back up, passages had appeared in the kind of sides of this downwards stairwell, which you've then kind of gone into, and you've been led to these rooms by some of the kind of servants here. So anyway,
Appeared as in
just you came back up, and there were gateways, well, not gateways, portals there that weren't there before. Perhaps some of the magic that Einod has had wizards create for her in the past. Anyway, should we start with you, Seb? Is Tumbleheart doing anything in particular in his room?
Tumbleheart is wondering why there's a bed in his room.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, it's a grass bed, so that might have
Oh,
some...
God.
Insult to injury.
It's
Lie on the flesh of my brethren.
It's also animal skins as well.
So you hope that these this wasn't sentient grass that was cut down for this bedding.
Oh no. Is it definitely dead?
The animal skin.
No, the grass.
Yeah, it's dead.
Oh no. I'll just gently caress it. Sorry, my fallen brothers. I refuse to lie on your remains.
Okay.
Well, you couldn't anyway. Just like till over
Yeah,
the top.
you're seated in an urn, so you're kind of always sitting, really.
That's true.
How do you sleep? Do you sleep?
No.
Yeah, it's a plant.
Plants sleep.
Do they?
You know, when their little flowers.
Oh, they
Raise
do,
up
don't
at
they?
night.
No.
You go into a rest mode.
Yeah, I have
That's
rest.
convenient. It takes 8 hours and regenerates all your hit points. Okay.
I don't. It's more like I guess like a meditative state than like me actually sort of kind of toughen myself up.
Alright, okay.
But yeah, I'll go. Can we go explore?
You want to start going around the place?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you got the sense that you were kind of...
Are we heading off?
you're going to be heading off in the morning. You're resting here. I mean, it's, the implication is you're going to be treated to dinner.
Oh,
but,
right. Okay. In which case, I mean,
but you're free to wander if you want.
I will also presumably not be partaking of too much during that. But I will, however, no. So how long before dinner? What's the time now?
You don't know. You just told to kind of you were given some time to retire, gather yourself, clean yourself up. I mean, you're wearing armor, which is uncomfortable. Although yours is fairly arduous to take off, given that it's such a kind of
Sort of just a
kind
series
of
of
metal plates and chain linking, creating a kind of socks for your sturdier
my armored
vines.
Socks. No, I suppose there isn't a vase in this room with like a flower in it. I could
No,
natter with.
no. Unfortunately, there is not.
No.
That's a shame.
In which case, yeah, I'll go for a little wander around the corridor. I won't stray too far.
Okay.
To see the corridor I'm in.
Sure. I mean, the corridor you're in is kind of a curving corridor that just kind of has a series of these rooms, most of which the curtains are open, but the 4 around you that are closed, you assume is, well, your one's open, but the other 3 with you, you assume the rest of the group. I mean, you would have sensed them going into their own rooms. Sure. Okay. I mean, you can take yourself out there and begin to have a little wander.
Yeah, I'll have a little bit.
Your senses are fairly confined, being just a kind of literally just a passage through stone.
Yeah.
While you're doing that, what's everyone else doing? Harry, what's Steph up to? And his dog, perhaps.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
Oh, great.
Brief technical announcement. We
Right.
need to be a little bit louder.
Okay.
Apart from you, you're good.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
I can do that.
Yeah? Okay. So we're going to just let's be loud.
Let's be loud. Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Is that what people are saying? That we're
That's
too
what,
quiet?
that's what a couple of people are saying. We are
All right.
A little quiet.
Okay.
No, fair enough.
Should vote me.
What time
I'm
is
always
it?
voting.
I haven't quite worked out.
Okay,
what
so
time. Is this like evening or night yet?
No, it's getting towards evening. You know, I mean, it's getting. You're perhaps a few hours out from when, the lifestyle you're used to. People would be kind of, returning to the group, eating what they gathered for the day. It's getting close to mealtime for you, but there's kind of, it's about 4 p.m. I mean, obviously there's no
Okay.
you know,
So there's plenty of
PM,
time.
AM. You know,
Right.
there's no
It's late afternoon.
increments of time.
Can I go and try and find Enod? I think Enod's done me dirty.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you can go find. So around the time that you emerge from your room, you also see Stev and plus or not with dog. What's the dog doing?
No, the dog's coming.
Okay.
The dog always comes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does the dog get 60 days worth of water as well?
Enod didn't say, but you would probably assume not. I mean,
Okay, yeah.
your understanding of dogs and their relationship to masters is generally, you know, the master gets all of the kind of
Okay, yeah, no, cool.
food and
Dog
gives it.
doesn't get its own fucking wages. Okay, yeah. The dog and me leave the room.
Okay.
Hello.
All right.
I do not make eye contact. Sorry. That's
Rude.
Whoa.
I tried to ignore the plant thing.
Okay, so you're in a passageway that goes. So I mean, you're basically facing each other. You can go in either direction, away from each other, or. By the way, you two are hearing.
I was
said,
going to say, I
you
can
better.
come out and
Oh, you know. Oh, hello, or whatever your voice is. Sorry, I can't remember. Are you doing a voice, Harry? You're not, are you?
No, I'm just
Harry.
at the moment.
Hello. How are you doing?
No, that's not okay. That's not okay.
Oh,
That's
sorry,
not
sorry.
okay.
Yeah, no, there's now digital evidence of my bullying. I'm sorry.
That was just David Mitchell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's probably not
Okay, well,
far from the truth.
you've heard them bumped into it. What's Tetsu doing? We'll get to them before you two.
So, my plan originally was to have a look in my satchel.
Yeah.
What was Lucky's satchel?
Yeah, you grab Lucky's bag. Yeah.
So can I look inside Lucky's bag?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's inside?
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. So, opening it up, you see some objects that perhaps you spied around his cave before, but you didn't. He didn't ever go into detail with you. Assumably, you kind of take everything out and kind of inspect it. So the first thing, rather prominent, is a very quite large chrome bowl that you first pull out, and you see that kind of there's a series of holes, ports in the underside of it, and then on the inside, at the very centre, there's kind of a very long, thin needle that comes up to the same height as the bowl.
Do I
I'm
know?
not quite sure what this would do. Pulling out further, there's a series of kind of wiring, perhaps you think would correspond to this bowl, maybe, and some other stuff. And then the last thing you bring out is a rather curious, very heavy hemisphere of this kind of dark grey metal. Appears to be at first kind of a perfect, just a perfect lump of metal, but then as you kind of catch it in the light, you can kind of see there's very thin, angular lines of kind of silver that run through it. But inspecting it over, there doesn't seem to be anything else to this thing. Although generally, I mean, you will have probably picked up, or at least intuited, that kind of sometimes the less complexity means actually it makes it a more profound and complex relic.
Yeah.
Left behind by the eaters. So you know, kind of the higher the divinity of the object, the less kind of widgets and parts there will be. So yeah, that's what you pull out.
Do I know of anyone or that I could take these to that I'd?
Not really. I mean, your experience with technology is limited to kind of you know, what you will have experienced with your tribe growing up, which is a very kind of distant, you know, religious, ritualistic approach to it. There's not much study of it, and Lucky did not speak of other tutors or anything, unfortunately.
Okay.
Although Enod seems to have, you know, some knowledge, so perhaps she knows someone. Yeah.
I pop it all back in the satchel,
Sure.
hearing
Pull it in.
this commotion that's going on, and just stick my head round and see these two. What are you
Pull
guys
it in.
doing?
I don't know yet. We've barely started. I was just saying, what over there?
Nothing. I walk away.
Hey, where are you going?
Dog wants a walk.
Can I roll insight on that?
I mean, sure.
Is it on me or the dog though? 'Cause
This
the
is-
dog at this point might pretend that it did want to walk.
I will. Okay, roll insight. What's the dog's No, the dog has a charisma of 6, so I don't think it's very good at lying. So you can roll deception against his insight.
Right.
It's a dog. I mean, it's fairly honest. You know.
Motherfucker.
What have we got?
I got a 2. I don't know. Where's my charisma modifier?
14.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
so
like.
I got a just a 2.
So you go, where are you going? And he goes, a dog doesn't walk, and then just.
Exactly what I did.
That is a bare-faced lie, sir.
We were told to wait in our rooms.
Were we?
Were we?
Well, it was kind of implied that you
It
should.
was implied that we should wait in our rooms. I think that we should do that.
Strong implication. Well, we're not.
Strong implication.
Strong implication.
Whoa.
What are you doing?
I was going to go for a little wander. See, I actually did want to walk.
I roll inside on it.
And you can roll inside if you
I'm
want.
not rolling inside on that.
Right, just brief smash cut to Hababus. Assuming you've been midway through taking your chainmail off, and then you kind of hear this, you know, kerfuffle outside. What are you doing, if anything?
So I know Einod pretty well.
You've met Enod before. She's commissioned you to do work before. I mean, she commissioned you to do work with Stev to go look at this pig farm that had recently gone. Recently, the farmer had lost contact with everyone else.
How should we feel about us wandering around?
I mean, you know that it's not decorum. It's not etiquette for you to kind of just prod around the place. Look at it this way. I mean, the doorway to the rooms you're in was kept hidden until it was necessary.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I mean, whether you care about these people getting caught and kind of... Okay, good for you.
Push do or don't.
We'll find out.
Alright, fair enough.
Yeah, I wanna like hastily go out and be like, shouldn't wander around. We're just being very casual.
I'm not wandering
Stay.
around.
Good.
It's these two that are going for a little wander.
Anywhere.
Has Stev walked off at this point?
Steph's making a Reddit post. Steph was sort of awkwardly shitting there, but if they're gonna like do sod all, then yeah, he's gonna.
Alright, so Stev's gone, dog wasn't walking, you've gone, that's a lie, and he's walked off.
Gone.
Yeah, I mean, you look over and you can see Stev's curtain is across, and the dog and him don't
You
appear to
see
be in there,
it's
unless
like
they're hiding.
Dog's tail bouncing around as it walks off.
Bing, 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 bing.
They're not working yet, right? Fine. No,
Sure.
Just like
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
your dog's tail does, you know.
Quite
flouncing around.
Flouncy dog.
I think we
fancy
should
dog.
take advantage. Some downtime. Get to know each other. We're gonna be traveling together.
Well, we've got to
I've left at this point.
Got to get this idiot back.
Yeah, I mean, as you're going, you
And
kind
the
of hear
dog.
this left, you know, get to know each other, as it suddenly echoes down the passageway you're in. Let me get some music
the
going.
round-headed one could do his own
Front
garden.
No,
Well.
not much use.
But his dog's pretty useful.
I do like the dog. I was a big fan of the dog. That means that you seem to know this, lady,
Best
best
friends.
friends.
I'd say so. She doesn't like to admit it, but
Oh, I see. Well, have you met the blind swordsman that she keeps on retainer?
yes.
You don't know that she keeps a blind swordsman on retainer, but she does get visitors. You know, kind of people of importance, such as yourself. You know, who cross distances and then kind of entreat with her.
I've heard him.
You know where I might find him?
Could I lie?
Yes, yeah. Just to be clear, everyone can do the things that a
No,
regular
no.
person could do here, such as open a bag or lie.
I was hoping you give me a skillful lie. I don't know.
Okay, okay, all right.
This is the point of just role playing. If you're supposed to come up with the lie.
I don't know the names of places. He made up the laws.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so I mean,
With the help
Red
of-
Rock is just referred to as Red Rock
Oh.
University. It's not like, you know, the X room and the Y room or so on. I mean, it's not.
We're in a university.
No, sorry.
You said Red Rock University.
Did I? Oh my God, that's worrying. I didn't think I said that at all. Apologies.
Red Brick University.
Might be. Yeah, this is a Russell group.
Yeah,
Okay, so so what do you want to lie that this swords person is? I mean, you haven't heard of this person at all. You have no idea what Tom Hart's talking about. So if you think that they're here, then you know you can say that there's other rooms around that Enod's has. I mean, these are kind of you know, I mean, you suspect these are kind of the
I
fairly
expect
humdrum
to see you at
quarters.
dinner.
There's not going to be a dinner if you don't get the round blow.
Oh, to be clear, you don't know the gender of this person either.
I suspect we'll see them at dinner.
Like, you can say him, because he said him, I think.
Yes. Do we have to go get the round one?
I'm just saying he represents us.
He's not.
Wait, what?
No, I'm saying as a collective, we're only as strong as our weakest member. And he's got currently got our strongest
I'm
member.
sorry, collective
I'm right
is.
here.
What? What, the weakest member? The strongest member?
You
Is
were
that-
much nicer
is
before
that-
your mentor and presumably lifelong friend.
I'm going through a crisis,
Are
okay?
you
Is
okay?
he? You
I'm not
you
okay.
had at least 2 hours to get over it.
I'm tired, okay? I've got a lot of things that I want to know, and I just think that we should stay in our rooms and wait for dinner.
What are we gonna do it?
Developed a stutter as well.
Do I have any snacks?
Do you have any snacks?
Like,
I mean,
Dinner for me is
you might
going
have you might have a
outside.
few
Well,
bits
then-
of jerky on you or something.
I'm gonna give you a bit of jerky.
What do you give me this for?
Please stop being such a jerk.
This is like a weird post-apocalyptic Snickers. Not
So
me,
I was
I'm
at this
hungry.
point, Stev. I mean, you kind of this is gonna kind of, you know, stick together and so on. It's kind of faded like, you know, distant. You can no longer make out the words they're saying as they natter to each other outside their rooms. But you've kind of you come around the bend. The path splits a bit, and you can see on the side it kind of opens up into some other antechamber. But at this point, coming around the kind of curve, and you suspect this kind of there's perhaps a whole circular kind of circuit that you're on.
Round, like my head.
You do you identify with
That's the deep
the
lore of
corridor.
this. You have an affinity for circles because of your head shape.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, it slightly threw me off kilter there. You do see a small group, 4 people, coming. They seem to be dressed in similar, fairly humdrum white robes that you saw the servant who served you water before wearing, coming your way. One of them goes, "Oh, can I help you, sir? I understood we would be dressing you in your room."
I was wanting a private chat.
Yeah. Sorry?
I was wanting a private chat with Enod.
They kind of look to each other.
Enod and I had an agreement, and I think it's changed, or it's different, or maybe the agreement's gone away, and I just wanted some explanation.
Well, perhaps you can talk with Enod at dinner. I wasn't.
Well, I think
We were
it
told
should be
to-
a private conversation. It would be very quick. It would be 2 minutes.
Well, I do not think that is available now, but perhaps later.
Can you
They
ask
seem kind of
Enod a
confused
question?
and slightly intimidated by your round head and messy apparel and dog.
Can I
In
ask-
that order.
Can I, if I do an intimidate check,
Yeah,
can the dog help me?
absolutely.
So I can just get advantage on every single
No. Advantage is a bit strong, but like I will take the dog into account.
Okay.
Bear in mind the dog's again charisma is 6.
Shockingly bad.
It's a dog.
I think we need to swap around the charisma with the dog. Anyway, sorry.
No,
let's keep
excuse
going.
me.
Can I lose some of my charisma to the dog?
I
Maybe 5 to 6 points.
no, not at all.
Okay, sorry. Metagaming. Yeah. Can you take a message to Enod?
Yes, of course. And they're going to turn to one of the ones at the back.
Right.
She can take a message to Enod, but I think you should
Say
return
to
to your room.
Enod, now that the clever one has gone away, where do I find another clever one?
And the clever one is- She kind of mouths your words as you say that.
Enod will understand. I
Okay.
keep nodding.
Give me either a persuasion or intimidate check.
It's not intimidating.
Okay, give me a persuasion check.
I genuinely believe.
Yeah, give me a persuasion
These
check.
are massive-
Yeah, that's
these
a
are
bit
not
great.
These are not dice.
It's not like great.
Olé.
Where's my persuasion? It's still 9.
Still 9.
No, sorry, 6.
Okay.
Olé.
What's your charisma modifier?
0.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, I suck, but the dog
Okay.
sucks more.
So I think at this point,
Not an innuendo.
it's three.
Not an innuendo.
It's three fairly young people at the front, but the one at the back you've kind of only caught glimpses of, starts to push their way to the front. See, there's a considerably older one, same garb, but she kind of reaches out with a gnarled hand and kind of starts patting your chest, almost just kind of reaching out to try to get a sense of where you are. But she kind of goes, "No, I do not think this will be appropriate. I think you should return to your room for now."
I just
And
want help.
there's a
finding
certain
someone
push to her
clever.
arm, and I will say you're fairly persuaded. Something about her voice kind of harkens back to kind of subconscious memories of your grandmother telling you to do things.
Normally persuaded.
No, she just has a very convincing way of talking that kind of connects with your, upbringing, kind of matriarchal grandma kind of character. And she kind of, you find yourself being turned around with a hand kind of on one shoulder.
You make a good point.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Later, dear.
Yeah. Talk at dinner. You're right.
Yes, of course. Right, we cut back to you three.
Listen, I'm sorry.
I think at this point we get to the point you're like
Okay.
shouting at each other, like, we shouldn't walk around!
I'm sorry, okay? I've had a lot going on, okay? These last however many months, I can't even remember. It's just been a lot, okay? And I've lost my best friend, my mentor, and now we're going on this journey together. And I don't even know you guys, okay? I don't even know you. You're a plant. And
So you're a flashback and you're blue.
I like the cut of your jib.
That was a lucky guess on your card because you can't see colours. As you know, so canon, you've entirely assumed that all fleshlings are blue.
So either we go back into our rooms and wait for dinner, or go and get the round boy back.
Listen, I think Round Boy will do what Round Boy will do.
Oh,
He will roll from A to B.
I'm not round. My base is round. I'm not round.
he's like a lollipop, round and then rail thin.
It's like Biscuit Boy from the
You
Craven
turn him
Daily.
upside down and spun him. You would sort of like just spin up.
Oh yeah, he just spin on his body like this.
Like Inception. He only stops if it's in real life.
So we can determine what illusions are. Yes, listen, it would be good to get to know one another, and also, I was wondering if I could have a look at your hand.
Of course you can.
Why do we look at hands?
They're very intriguing. I don't have them. Ooh.
Well, you can look at her hand.
No, you can't look at my hands.
Well, okay.
Why would you like to see my hand?
Um,
It's injured. It's covered in kelp.
well, I thought maybe the kelp and I could have a conversation.
I think the kelp.
To be clear, you don't think that every plant is sentient.
No, but I can talk to all plants.
Yeah, okay, but it's like you can pick up information.
I think the kelp
I
might be
don't,
dead.
this is also just an excuse, because I saw the finger earlier.
Ah, that's true.
I'm just trying not to-
Given you were very close to each other when you
Yeah.
But I'm trying not to.
It might be worth saying at this point. I don't know if you said you do have long gloves on both hands. Okay, so just making sure because people may have forgotten.
You have gloves.
Yeah, she's gloves she hasn't taken off.
Can I?
It's not an
Can
unusual
I
thing to do.
Listen, I may be making a big deal out of the hands. Don't ask me why I got onto that. But yeah, maybe we could have a chat. We could sort of record some things. I mean, you're a fine swordswoman.
Thank you, I am. Was it good with a bow? And panpipes and
I'm less interested in the pan pipe.
And a calligrapher's kit. Don't you know calligraphy as well?
I changed it to panpipes because I could not remember the instrument you
Sheng.
I'm not.
It's a very ancient Chinese instrument. You'll have been to like Covent Garden. There'll be guys playing in there over like the Titanic soundtrack.
That's nice.
I only play
That's an incredibly niche Central London reference that is in no way helpful to anyone. But if you are, that one's for you.
Come to Lambert tomorrow at 7:30.
For God's sake. Anyway,
Maybe we could have a chat about your experiences as a swordsman and a bowman.
Tis I, the blind swordsman. I regained my sight yesterday.
are you actually attempting to lie,
I don't think he'll believe it.
Harry?
It's nothing to worry about.
Okay, because the screen is strobing
Now there isn't there?
It's really good timing with that music as well.
It's more of a joke than anything else. I'm not gonna see anything sort of.
I know that you are quite the swords person, and you know I'd like to have a little chat about where you train and how you train.
I definitely trained.
Yeah, you were taught to use the sword and the bow as part of your, just upbringing, your tutelage in Kolbal.
Learning Cabal.
Do I mind any teachers from Kabbalah?
Give me a history check.
27.
Christ alive.
That's my history.
So Kolbal, the Salted City, is very famous.
So you got some backstory now.
No,
I'm sure it's
Yeah, it is. Oh, now everyone's going to think I'm riffing this. Whatever. Shannon can attest that I haven't.
I saw a brief moment of terror when you said 27.
No, I was just like, well, okay, so he knows everything. Okay, so you know Kolbal, famous mercantile city in the Salt Desert, about the only place that survives there. What it provides is essentially a kind of a trade post, a kind of rest stop for merchants crossing the desert. And because it essentially halves the the risk of the journey, because you can basically make sure you don't run out of food, it's become a very prominent trade hub. It's ruled by Nagafes, supposedly an immortal king and a very great warrior. You recall perhaps a tidbit that the kind of the mythology is that when he founded the city just over 100 years ago, he defeated a demon and buried it beneath the stone upon which he built his palace. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the gist of it. You know, I would say on a 27, you've heard that he cannot bear children of his own, so adopts children, and that's kind of what forms the basic kind of upper crust of society. So if someone's getting sword tutelage, you could probably make the connection that someone might be associated with that in some way. Either the kind of middle class who serves the upper crust or upper crust.
I see. So, are you a member of the nobility?
One of the lucky few who was adopted by Nagafes, and by few I mean so many.
Oh my goodness. How many?
Dozens.
You know at least 50
I know at
adopted
least
siblings.
50.
But I'm the favourite.
That's a surprisingly large amount for a fleshling, isn't it?
Can you give me a deception check on that favourite?
It was said with bitterness in my voice.
Oh, okay, so
I can't
deliberately.
answer
Okay, no, sure, sorry.
And who trained you?
We all got trainings.
Just part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
And what brings you out here?
Gotta impress Dad. Get the throne.
Oh, I see.
I'm trying to judge his reaction to the things
Don't
he's saying.
have a face.
I know, you have a voice.
Okay, what are you trying to judge? I mean, you can give me an insight check.
That's because I want to know if he dislikes Nagafes.
Give me on disadvantage because you're trying to read a plant. But what are your thoughts on Nagafes?
I mean,
He's considered abroad to be a very kind of.
Sorry, I got a 20 and a 19.
Okay, he's quite revered abroad. Immortal king, great warrior, founded a very great warrior, founded a great city.
Is that?
You think that this Phaeton has nothing but adoration for your father, perhaps is partaken of the kind of myths around him more than the truth you know.
Okay. Let's change the subject.
I say at this point, you see Stev and the dog come around the corner with some old kind of crone with a hand on his shoulder, and a small group of others behind them. Oh, what is this? I thought everyone would be be in their rooms waiting.
the crone hand.
Crone, sorry.
Crone hand. Oh.
Sorry, apologies.
That's right. Oh, we were just having a little chat amongst ourselves.
Perhaps we can return to our rooms. And
Okay.
yeah.
And I promptly do.
Your head goes back in and. Okay. Hababus, I mean, this is, you know, this kind of formality of basically kind of servants, just basically making sure that everyone is up to a level of decorum. I mean, you keep yourself in good nick. You're not going to be wearing a chainmail. Your clothing's probably fairly clean. The kind of old lady perhaps glanced at you once. You know this ritual. Nothing much to do there. So she kind of turns to you in your room.
Is there anything I can do? I do not know much about plant people fight on rituals.
I sort of put 2 lines over and raise them as eyebrows.
Is there any form of dress I can help you get in or out of, or your arm, or do you need help getting out?
I'm fine as I am.
Exceptional. She just closes the blind.
Fine as he is.
Meanwhile, they split into 2 groups and have gone in, and one of them, 2 of them have kind of come in and looked at you and gone, perhaps we should change your clothing. It's rather beaten up. It's, I mean, you know, you were badly injured and you haven't changed clothes since, nor had a bath. So
I would love some new clothes.
okay. So they strip you. You get one of their kind of very similar, but with a few kind of decorative trimmings, similar white robes to what they're wearing. It's fairly adjacent to yours. I mean, your Shotok fashion has a kind of a greater craftsmanship to it than theirs. But yeah, they take your clothes off.
Can I keep my clothes? Or will they dispose of them?
They go, oh, we can repair these for you. Perhaps not to the level of Shotok craftsmanship, but we will do our best.
I'd appreciate that, thank you.
You're briefly scrubbed. Not much water to spare, of course, but you get a clean in. And you're dressed up and you do feel a bit refreshed. I think your dreads are perhaps beyond redemption, at least within this circumstance of limited water. Harry, you get a similar one. They have to scrub a bit harder with you. They perhaps briefly approach your dog, but it looks fairly clean, and the dog doesn't look too keen on being washed.
You'd love a wash.
Would it?
No, he wouldn't.
Okay.
Like wash. It looks suspicious.
How are you responding to being cleaned? And I mean, you're wearing like, are you still wearing your Puma chitin that has been like pulled off of you?
Yeah, like just tatters of shitty leather. Yeah, like just the worst.
Yeah.
I think like he's probably never washed, let alone.
You will have washed. You will have washed. Like
yeah, but in terms of like scraping dirt off himself.
no, but
like
you will have gone
wet
into into rivers and washed.
It's cold though, remember?
Yeah.
Like you don't go into rivers when it's that cold. You
Loads of people get into cold rivers.
I mean, you might freeze to death. Like
No,
people in,
it's
like,
not that cold.
Eskimos don't go into rivers, do they?
That's a good point. You don't come from an Eskimo-like climate. It's not boreal. It's only tundra.
All right, fine.
Yeah, it's not boring, it's okay.
Yeah.
There's my catchphrase. We've done it.
Print that. Finally, a merch opportunity.
He's weirded out, but like he's probably.
So you just kind of like slightly worried but enjoying it as like these 2 people take your kind of peel this clothing off you and start to scrub you down.
What are you doing?
Oh, don't do it like that.
Woo! Touching.
All right.
Not like that. Just to like it tickles.
The rest of you have to hear Stev giggling as he's cleaned in his room. You have the decency to stay quiet. Oh yeah. Okay. You get cleaned, and pretty soon you all emerge to see a gleaming Stev, his round head like a light bulb. Yeah, no, okay. Fine. It's just, oh god, that's so much worse. Fine. His round face gleaming. It's like a front projector.
Yeah, I know, right? Not greyish, like blacky grey.
Brosnan handsome?
But Carl Pilkington's head with Pierce Brosnan's hair. Like a little Lego person just...
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Brilliant. I mean, great that we're grounding descriptions in, you know, real-world examples that people can really relate to. Like Carl Pilkington with Pierce Brosnan.
Carl on the street.
Also, we use it to purely describe the hair colour.
That's what I
Which is
said.
a very common hair colour. Like, people know what like black and a bit grey looks like.
It's black going grey.
Black and
Yeah, but how-
go-to would be George Clooney.
Forgive me,
I
can
say
we not
he's
just
more-
say
I
hair
say
that's
he's
black
more
and going a bit
grey
grey?
than was
Anyway,
black.
we are getting a bit sidetracked. You are led down this passageway. You go to this antechamber you saw before, which at the back leads to a ascending staircase. Don't know why I did this. It's not spiral. Just go straight. Not round.
Yeah,
Not round. You're unnerved. You're not used to this.
Staircase lagging around has disturbed me. Yeah, sorry.
And you emerge into the open air. Unable to be, well, it's fairly warm.
You can do all weathers, Liam.
Yeah, true.
Even boring.
Acting.
See my CV on Spotlight.
So, unable to be spied from Red Rock's base, a courtyard has been carved into its top. In the open air, under a sky bronzed by a setting sun, Einod's guards lounge in the cloisters of this courtyard, smoking from hookahs and toasting flatbread in large clay urns couched in fire pits. One of them eyes you as you emerge, as he removes the spines from a star apple. At the centre of this open-air dining hall, there is no floor. At least, not as you understand it. What first appears to be a great cavernous hole the dining table floats above. You realise as you draw close and see a bit of reflection upon it, it's actually a great disc of transparent material. Hababus, to you, from your background, it is like impossibly pure glass. To the rest of you, it's like some kind of colourless, perfect resin. And you see...
Well, to me, just more floor.
Just more floor. Well, okay, so you would recognise that it is like eerily smooth and cold. You know, this isn't a floor as you know it, Jim. No. So essentially, you've got a courtyard here, and then at the centre, where there is a dining table, just stone slab essentially, on. There's this large disc of transparent material you can see down into, and kind of from what lighting is around, you can perhaps glance deep beneath this nigh visible floor, the faint reflections of a great sum of water rippling within a cavernous well. This is kind of this setting's equivalent of like the Scrooge McDuck vault, I guess you might say.
But it actually makes a lot more sense if she goes diving into it.
She hasn't done yet. So you see, people don't seat themselves around this dining table.
First thing I do.
Instead, they kind of carry over these dried palm fronds that they laden with food as if plates, and they kind of return to their little groups, seated around, and you can kind of, you know, the small conversations kind of drift off into the night air around you. I mean, it's quite a spread, particularly for you. It's a bounty you're not used to. Star apples, rock nuts, bananas, fermented sugar cane, much more, and you see nearby, turning on a spit, beetles cooking their shells.
Fucking grim.
No, you think beetles are great.
I think it's great.
You think it's great.
But I, in real life, horrified by this.
No, a giant bug. You know, that's a great little, you know, packet of protein right there. Yeah.
Are the bananas explosive still?
So some bananas are explosive, but you hope these are the non-explosive kind.
Okay, fingers crossed.
The dining table just blows up.
I survived a sidekicks in Esper.
To be killed by a banana. So you see at the far end of this courtyard you've come up into is an overlooking raised area atop which Einod perches with her retinue. Again, the kind of advisor figure, rail thin, who sat beside her when you spoke with her previously. She eats much the same as what's on the dining table, you think. So far as you can tell at this distance, it doesn't appear to be any more lavish than anything else. And it's worth saying in this setting, you know, what counts as opulence for food is basically just like enough so that you may not be able to eat all of it. That's about it. You know, I mean, particularly with you live meal to meal. So, on this race platform, you also see some people, or one person you don't recognise, older figure, perhaps you'd guess similar age as Einod's, 50s, so quite old, venerable. This one sits there. You see that they are missing their arm from kind of around here. Sorry? Why? Okay, we're referencing, you know, D&D games that no one else knows of on a live stream. So. Yeah, fine, everyone else. Okay, shall I play the character lost their arm? Whatever. Although, to be clear, you lost your arm here, so not paired off. Okay, I mean this is also a 50-year-old man, 7-arm, does have some kind of. I mean, you can kind of see some kind of thing strapped onto it. I mean, you'd have to go closer to scrutinise it, but it seems to be halfway functioning as a kind of crude prosthesis.
The crinkliest thing, right next to the microphone.
Yeah, sorry about these crisps. You don't notice a sword on the person. There is a fairly hefty kind of scar running down. It doesn't take any eyes or anything, but it does cut down. In terms of mutations, this guy's just, you notice a couple of tumours growing on the side of the neck, which haven't bit up his windpipe. Those of you of keen eye, I think. Yeah, I'll allow it. Sorry? Yeah. We'll notice that he has on his intact hand 6 fingers, a sign of good luck in life. Or kind of blessed by the gods, who are often depicted with 6 fingers.
Proved to be the art villain at the end of the Princess Bride.
Yeah, well, that's a different setting.
15 years.
And kind of standing over them is this figure you saw briefly before coming up here, kind of just shrouded in a kind of leather cape, and this long metallic tube kind of pokes out from the side of it underneath their conical hat, but they seem to just kind of stand there as their cape slightly flutters in the wind. What are you doing?
I will approach Einod.
So as you begin to kind of slowly undulate your way towards these ascending steps, it's a little like kind of a ziggurat, you know, kind of steps that go up to a kind of little bit, and then she's basically at the very top of Red Rock in the open air. Perhaps one of these guards will come past and kind of maybe kind of reach out, kind of not touching you, but kind of indicating, you know, just with a gesture. You're not supposed to walk up there.
Slow down.
Sure. And he just keeps on walking by to the table.
The guard.
This guy just comes past and kind of goes like.
So I know, as in I've not got to the steps.
No, so you're coming towards the steps. This person's like,
What a sassy
Sorry.
guard. I'll just call up Einod.
And she kind of smoking her pipe. Again, just to remind you, you know, she's slightly leathered by her age. Her earlobes extended by these ovals of carved wood. Who's proficient in religion here? No one.
I got +2.
+2. I mean, I'll say with your background, you might recognise the symbol of Carfax, one of the kind of more prominent deities of the region. She also has a hole in one of them that suspends 2 gold rings and a chain between them over her face, and her face has kind of a smattering of blue makeup. She smokes a very long pipe. She kind of just looks down to you. You see she kind of says some words you don't catch on the breeze to the person beside her and just goes back to eating.
I was wondering if I can eat with your swordman. Or woman.
She doesn't speak, but just extends out a pipe and points with it to, and you kind of see across, and there is someone kind of perched in the corner, and kind of focusing your senses, you can detect that indeed a sword kind of contained within just a very plain wooden stick kind of leans against them, and they do indeed have a blindfold across their eyes, just a strip of cloth. What's everyone else doing? Just while you're doing this.
Sat down and being a perfect house guest.
Okay, so you just kind of find somewhere to seat yourself.
Are other people eating yet?
Yeah. So people are going around. It's very casual, kind of
I'm
open.
standing and just shoveling it into my mouth.
Okay.
As I assume is the dog.
Sure, I mean the dog kind of gets onto the top of the table, obviously with his positioning can't quite get to the food unless it's like,
I'm not going to help the dog. The dog can get its own food.
Okay.
What
It kind
it's
of like it
gonna
does that
do-
thing where it turns the head sideways and kind of bites through it, manages to get like.
It's going to get it, and then it's going to, like, it gets the end of a beetle in its mouth, and it bites it, and then it does the. And it goes, and then it just swallows it fucking whole.
Okay, these beetles are like this big.
It's got a big dog.
Okay.
It opens wide.
I'll allow it because killing the dog from, choking and the Heilung maneuver not being invented seems a bit harsh.
Fine. It does that with the more floppy things so it can get down its throat.
Sure.
Like
Okay.
rats or whatever.
And
I want to get like the leaf of food, and then I want to go and stand by her.
so you're climbing the steps.
He's next to Enid.
Yeah. So it's Enod, her kind of thin advisor, and this scarred, cut up person, and then kind of standing over them is this kind of reclusive figure with this apparatus upon them.
Can I just mutter under my breath, why can't we just sit down and have a nice meal? Jesus. I mean, no, he doesn't exist.
I'm trying to figure out if I would know enough about the culture to just not climb the stairs, or if I just want to do it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
And when the guy comes, like, say now, I'm just going to...
Okay, so it's a couple of the guards eye you, but looking down, Enod will kind of say, beckon you up to come with it.
Hang him up. And I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay, what are you doing? Are you going over to the swords
Going
person?
over to the swordsman.
Okay. They kind of, blindfold on, but they kind of perk up as you draw close.
Swordsman, hello.
Hello?
My name is Tumbleheart Baraka III from the Fighting Consortium. I was wondering if I might question you about your techniques
My technique?
with a sword.
Alright, I mean, I'm just an apprentice. I'm not. She has a kind of. You can pretty much immediately pick up a kind of lack of self confidence to this person. Who is a she? I mean, you said he as well. Oh, fair enough.
It's his fault.
You're to blame. Sorry. Finally found the person responsible for all the world's ills.
That's true.
And despite being kind of slightly hunched in the corner, this person is kind of shrinking up slightly. No.
You're just an apprentice.
Yes. Perhaps you're looking for my teacher?
It sounds about right.
I'm afraid you're not. It's not going to be easy to find them. It's across the desert.
Can't be very easy to train with then.
Well, give me a persuasion check. This person's like, who is this person? 10. She kind of just goes, well, I guess, and then you hear, you there! Oh, wouldn't waste your time with this one here. It's not much of a talker. And you do look over, and indeed, there is a potted plant nearby.
Yes!
I mean, I think they have to, because you did that voice. Hello, old chap.
Brother.
Don't think I know your sword. Don't think I know your sword.
No. I don't think I know yours. Your name.
Well, surely you've heard of the esteemed Berlin.
Have I heard the esteemed bird?
Give me a history check.
17.
17. Yeah, you've heard of Berlin. Yeah. I mean, his treatises on the developing religion and interpretations of Carthax are groundbreaking.
Yeah. Treaties on developing religion and interpretations of Carthax are groundbreaking. I want to be in your presence.
Yes, well, I mean, yeah, I like to think I, put myself into it.
You really did. Made your mark.
Listen, and I would say also with your history check, Berlin, his principal writings were about 50 years ago, so before you were born, or before you attained sentience. Don't know if I've ever seen a plant in fleshling armor before.
No, it's more recently developed.
Really?
Been out of the consortium for a while.
Well, I've been parked up here to continue my research.
I see, but we can find some time since you've had a publication, isn't it?
Well, yes, of course. I mean, I like to think myself as a really sorry, I can't actually speak today. That's the DM's brain being fried, not the character. Well, consider my he just withers. Well, I consider myself to be rather prolific, but I mean, if that's the way things are going in the consortium now.
Yeah, you still are, but they wanted a more militant wing to be able to research into some of the more difficult areas.
Really?
Without having to outsource, for protection and so forth. Really, it's more a personal passion and pursuit of mine.
Right. I mean, I recall Utah II talking about these things as a flight of fancy. It's interesting to see he's realised it so soon.
Flight of fancy now manifest. Here I am, the example, and I do a quick flourish to myself.
Good gods! Will you look at that?
Wouldn't you just?
Well, there we go. Shows the fleshlings really are useless.
I mean, absolutely. What are we even going to use them for now? That being said, it is going to take me some time to complete my research. You see, the fleshlings, having had a little bit more time practicing with these things, developed quite a number of different techniques for dealing with various different creatures, beasts, other swordsmen, so on and so forth. I thought I might, venture forth, as it were, and catalogue them.
History of the sword.
History
That's
of
rather
the
interesting.
sword, isn't it? I thought so.
Yes. I think at this point we should cut away as these two just kind of like flatter each other backwards and forth.
Oh, I could watch that for 3 hours. Can I have a little look round and see if there's anyone that I think might be able to identify some of my teams? Some of my things.
He thinks things, right. Give me a... I mean, look round. Okay, give me a perception check.
Okay. 9.
So glancing around, you can't see anyone with any of the trinkets that will mark them out as a wizard,
Okay.
particularly. No, you can't see anything that says to you, teacher. I mean, those two plants over there, from what you're catching, sounds like they kind of, I mean, they're using some long words, but you haven't seen them wielding, having any interest in Eater relics. So,
Alright.
unfortunately, I don't think so.
I go back to my beetle.
Crunch.
Crunch.
Well, no, I mean, the great thing about these beetles is you can basically, with a quick tug, just pull off the carapace and then use that as essentially a spoon.
Oh, God.
It's like, whole meal in one. It's like a bento.
Is it
but
really?
Bang it in the work quick.
Anyway, are you just still shoveling food?
Well, how quickly do you think I can eat enough to be full?
I mean,
This is survival instinct, by the way. You never know when I might be attacked, and this could be the last meal for a few days.
and you need to weigh yourself down.
Yeah. Get some ballast.
Get some balance.
Yeah.
Get some counterweight to your head.
While I eat, I am going to look around to see if there's anyone who looks clever.
Give me a perception check.
Those guys are using big words.
You're good at perception though, so that might not be too bad.
Yeah, 15. No, not 15. What is my perception? Plus 8, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's 15.
I mean, Enod's smarter than you're pretty sure, and those plants are using a lot of fancy words.
Yeah, but Enod's up there.
Yeah, I mean, this one, Tetsu.
This one wasn't allowed to go chat.
I mean, I think you can, given your limited intelligence but your high perception, you can probably just pick up when people are a bit smarter than you.
Right.
And you probably think that Tetsu might be a bit more canny, than you
So
are.
I don't think I can talk to Enod.
Well, you
I
you
was
saw the
told earlier
plants.
that I could talk to Enod.
Sorry?
I was told I could talk to Enod.
Well, you were told that
It was
Enod would put you in
implied
contact
that
with someone.
Enod might. All right, I'm gonna go and talk to Tetsu.
All right.
What are you doing? Are you eating your?
I'm eating my
fucking
beetle. I'm eating my fucking beetle.
All right. At this point, you've come up. You've sat down with Enod. A servant has come and placed down essentially, kind of 2 bits of wood, a little plank to serve as a little, desk to eat from. Essentially, some food has been brought to you. It's a little fancier. Nuts with honey. Kind of things have been mixed into like salads and so on. But yeah, it's similar food to what you're serving. Enod hasn't said anything yet. She's just kind of sat there and smoked and just kind of stared at the, stared upwards as the stars slowly begin to kind of poke through as the sky gently darkens.
What's the vibe I'm getting off the guy?
Which guy?
The guy I came up to see.
Okay, there's a thin one who you know as Enod's advisor, and then there's a larger fella who
How about the arm?
you recognise. Give me an insight check. 19. Okay, I mean, 19. I will say from the guy, I mean, he seems fairly stoic, quiet, content to just sit there and eat, but you can perhaps pick up there's a very kind of close familiarity between him and Enod.
Okay. I want to turn to Enod and say, thank you so much for putting us up for the evening. The accommodation's better than anything I had in Cabal.
Golbal.
Close enough.
No, yeah, good.
Your home's truly beautiful.
you passing each other food. Very good. No, good for you.
I've been eating for the entirety of this conversation.
Oh, I didn't notice. Have inspiration for miming. Good for you. Sorry.
Inspiration for miming.
No, I'm serious. No, doing the physical actions is good. Okay. She kind of just takes a long draw from her pipe and then just blows a fairly perfect ring.
Perhaps you could introduce me to your acquaintances.
Trying to remember what voice I did for her now. What do you think of these people? And she kind of, with a pipe, indicates to perhaps these three and the dog.
Phyton is a remarkable swordsman. I think he'll be of great aid to us on our mission. The one with the dog,
Round boy.
I still don't
I'd
know
like
why
this-
you've asked him to come with us.
This should coincide as I turn around and while trying to eat like a rat or something, just miss my mouth, just smear all.
I like it. You've got like a handful of nuts you're trying to fit into a mouth that's already full or something.
falling out.
Like just like juice of sugarcane falling. According to him, he made his way down here from Whitecomb. Not many could brave that journey. Perhaps he knows something about travelling.
He doesn't seem smart enough to lie, so
I noticed that as well.
Good eating.
He seems smart enough to follow orders, though, so usable in some way.
The dog isn't though.
No? Thought the dog was more intelligent than him.
Fucking
Not hard.
slander.
What's his race again?
Shotok. Shotok. They're the southern mountain people, famed for their craftsmanship,
As you know,
craftspersonship.
suffered a loss. I'm honestly not sure about his mental state at the minute, but
Yes, I wanted to talk to you about this. I would consider it a great favour to me if you would make sure to keep this one alive.
I wasn't planning to kill him, but
But him at least over the other two, should it come to it.
why?
I owe a debt to Lucky, and I would like to see his pupil protected. In some capacity.
It comes to it. Steph will be the first to die.
Not exactly what I was asking for, but I do find that kind of amusing, to be honest.
Fucking French.
Round face.
Against the round heads.
Is Steph's
Pierce
like,
Brosnan hat.
is Steph's weight so centered in his head that if he tried to hang Steph, he just sort of rotates. Hang upside down.
His head isn't huge, it's just round. It is quite thick and quite dense, I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of skull there.
Is it
Survived
It's
through
a lot- it's only about
thick
two-thirds
skull.
Question: Is it like exactly like spherical?
It's
like
not
a football,
perfectly round.
or
I
is
just
it
said this how the
like
saying
a man
perfectly
with a
round is perhaps not literally true.
So it's like
it's Carl
it's-
Pilkington. It's a
the
very round
edges,
head.
Yeah.
right?
Harry,
the
don't
ends
draw.
are going to be round,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, it's not perfectly round. But
He
like,
has a chin.
Well, I mean, yeah, he has a chin, but it like probably goes up like that much before it starts sort of rounding back again. So like, we're talking.
He was just drawing a head.
Harry, you're drawing a head.
No, but it's just got to be,
On
like that level of roundness right there.
Okay. So it's more like a bean.
Oh, this is brilliant. So,
Yeah, and it's just like
great. I mean, a head that is round but not perfectly
it's
so.
just very, very like.
Look, I think we're getting sidetracked.
Very perfect, it's just curved
okay.
more than it is.
Enod clicks her fingers and says, I have prepared something. And a servant kind of scuttles up behind him and places on your little desk a small wooden box, quite finely engraved. Open it. And you see inside, it's a quite nice little box, for God's sake, Harry. Inside is a small bedding of down. Come on. And you see sitting inside of it is a cylinder. Appears to be sort of kind of bronze material on either end, but then a tube of glass.
What did the comment say?
Just imagining a man with his head.
Yeah, well, I mean that's what you made it sound like.
No, it's not. Okay,
Actually,
whatever.
yeah, no, you're glancing down and he's going wacka 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 as he eats the food on the table.
Ghosts chase him.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Well, I wasn't. Yeah, sure. Okay, sorry. Getting sidetracked. Cylinder, brass metal at both ends, glass tube. Inside, you see a suspension of a crimson liquid. You do not recognise this, and you can see at the very end, kind of picking up and inspecting it. There's a very, very fine kind of needle, just pokes out from one side of it, and she goes, "Should it come to it, I would have you use this to make sure that this apprentice of Lucky's comes back alive, but only in the most desperate of times. You understand?
Not at all.
I am told this is some kind of elixir that can bring those close to death back. Do not get excited, babies. I know what you're like."
Just immediately jumps into her.
Yeah!
You're giving the person whose quest is immortality
Are you saying this to Enod?
No!
Okay.
My quest is immortality.
The wizard who gave this to me explained it is to be used once, and it was for my protection, but I am more concerned with preserving Lucky's skills for now, at least.
And this is purely because you owe Lucky a favour, or I feel like there's more to it than that?
Can I
Give me an insight check if you want.
As this conversation?
You haven't heard any of this.
No. But I've seen that Enod have been.
24.
This is
Okay.
a lucky day.
Yeah. Jeez. No, because I was revealing stuff I don't want to. But okay, on a 24. So you would say, okay, she does genuinely have a debt she owes to Lucky, and that obligates her to protecting his apprentice. However, you can kind of pick up from perhaps an overkeenness. You would suspect that perhaps she actually has, she has
A crush.
She has her own interests would benefit from Tetsu staying alive. If that's just, because wizards are capable of great things. I mean, you know that she usurped her father through the aid of wizards, or some other plan you don't know. That would be, insult the level of being psychic. But
I wouldn't want to impose on anything I shouldn't know, but
good.
you trust me. You sent me on many missions and I've not failed you yet. I believe that you can trust me with this information.
Good. Well, I trust you with this. More than information. This is something precious, not to be squandered.
What is it about the blue one?
Give me a persuasion check. Sorry, what was it Tetsu's trying to do in the meantime? Do you say?
I've noticed. God, I'm merging. I noticed that people are talking to Enod, and I'm like, I have been an ideal house guest, and haven't wanted to just. But I've seen everyone else doing their own thing.
Just ranting to a guard.
I was like, I am playing by the book here, okay?
Yeah, okay. I mean, the guard is just slowly takes the cup of cider from you at this point.
I'd like
No,
to speak to Enod, so I'm going to go walk up.
I really don't think that's a good idea.
Why, man? Why can she get to speak to him? I've got questions.
That is
He
the
answers.
Babus. She's a noble from the Salty City.
From the salty city.
Okay.
Salted.
Oh.
All right.
Torture your plant friend.
What were your thoughts on Engelbert's essays?
Anyway.
For Crocodile Jungle.
Where did you leave it with Enod? Sorry.
Oh, we're supposed to be talking about Shell, aren't we?
Persuasion. I explained to you that I owed that to Lucky. I would see You would earn a favour from me by keeping his apprentice alive. Is there anything you really want more from me than that, Ababus?
How much do I trust her?
Up to you. Sab.
Sad.
The people want to see it.
Oh God, to get it on there. Sorry. Anyway. Yikes. Harry's drawing skills are not
They're
not the
solid.
best. Not the best.
I disagree. That is ours.
Anyway, sorry. What are you saying to her, Ababus? Well, I mean, trusting Ababus, that's really up to you. I mean, sorry, trusting Einod.
What do I know of her reputation?
Water Baron. Okay, her reputation is largely framed in, relative to her father, who was, is seen as tyrannical and miserly to the point of kind of, sadism. And so when she usurped him, and when she, does give waters to farmers for trade, that's considered to be more virtuous. So she's by and large considered to be, well-tempered, kind of shrewd and decent, fair, I think would be the best way she's seen. Does she have a relationship with your dad? No, they've never met each other, you don't think? Or if they did, neither of us ever talked about it.
Oh, hello there! Say, you probably heard that I'm out, like all my brothers and sisters, on a mission to try and earn father's approval.
Well, I've heard stories to that effect somewhat.
It's not quite what I'm doing.
She waits for you to speak more.
How long have you known him to be alive?
From what I've heard, he's immortal.
Oh, so that's just a thing that people know, that he's immortal. I thought.
Yeah, no, everyone thinks he's immortal.
Okay. I need to end that immortality.
She laughs and sort of stops herself.
He's a cool man. He doesn't deserve the friend that you took from him.
Well, I can sympathise with that, of course.
Maybe you can understand. A cool father. Maybe if the day ever did come that you raise a sword against my father, would I have the backing of you and your people?
I do not have the means to wage war against another city, if that is what you're asking me.
No, but you'd be an ally to my cause in word.
You ask a lot of someone who has not known you for that long. I mean, perhaps if we can continue our partnership, and you continue to do good work, then maybe we can forge ties.
I'd appreciate that.
Sorry?
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. I
Yeah.
forgot that we're on camera with a microphone.
Yeah, it was supposed to be, yeah, people said we should talk louder, so.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate it.
Do you think that's the end of the conversation then?
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of, alright, is anyone else talking about anything? Harry, you gotta give up this thing, man.
I think Stavus was going to come over and talk to Tash.
Yeah, Stev's gone over,
Yeah,
Really
we're waiting for
draw
them.
pictures of himself.
yeah, it's just gonna pick up a stone and try to grind into the sandstone of like, here's what my head looks like.
Scratching it into the glass.
Good eating.
Yeah. Sorry.
Seb, that's a really creaky chair.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really fidgety.
Sorry.
I've got the creaky
If you,
Good beetle.
if you take the this bit off, you can use it as a spoon,
Oh.
and then just.
I've just been using my hands and I proceed to demonstrate. I pick up a beetle and I just take as much of the insides out and then I just ram it all down my throat.
At one point, he does actually put his hand in his mouth and then just like takes it out.
And yeah,
I mean, whatever floats your boat.
I've left the dog.
What's a
What's
boat?
a boat?
Oh.
You know what
Surely
boats.
we
You will know
know.
what boats are. Being at Whitecomb, you'll know what boats are.
But I don't know
There is a
what
sea
boats
to the north, but boats, no.
I don't know.
But I mean, the boats. We can say, kind of in the setting, boat would be analogous to like the salt skimmers that cross the desert. But
What?
whatever
skims your salt, mate.
To be clear, I mean,
Okay.
you live on mountainsides, and in the steppe below it, there are goat riders. So perhaps whatever floats you go.
There
But
Nice.
floats, goats don't.
Whatever stabilises
Whatever
your
bloats you go.
Okay, yeah. I like that. That's good. Okay. So bearing in mind I've left the dog.
The dog is
The dog
just kind of like,
it's 20 feet
you know,
away and it's eating a squirrel or something. Yeah.
I mean, there's not an
A
abundance of
small rodent
squirrels,
type
but
of
yeah.
Animal that it can
Type of
eat.
character, yeah. You killed a sentient rat character who I, you know, meticulously crafted.
What
No.
do you need?
What do you know about?
Speak up, Harry.
What do you know about dogs?
What is it you particularly want to know about dogs?
So I was supposed to speak to a clever person about the dog,
Right.
but that clever person is now.
Sorry, just keep me
What the fuck is going on?
Sorry.
Excuse me.
Who are you talking to?
No, they're the one that you know you were friends with, and then the metal and the stabbing. And, oh no, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
It's it's been a lot.
It's
Okay.
just, I know it's too soon. But
Do I know anything about dogs?
Yeah, I mean, you know, give me a history check. Actually, no, I'll say animal handling. That makes more sense.
Even better.
Really?
No. Crisp 6.
I mean, you know, some of your tribesfolk will have used dogs for hunting. Your best friend was a dog. No. So, I mean, you know, some people will have used hunting dogs, you know, in your clan, but you didn't personally.
Yeah.
Although you do think about hunting, get a slight headache at the back of your head that goes after a little bit.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
you wouldn't.
What is it about the dog that's
So, can dogs? Very shifty.
I mean, there's a guard who's just like leaning up against the pillar next to you. He's
Can
like,
you hear me? Can you hear me?
oh yeah, no, he's fully on like parked up in the conversation,
I'm
ready to
gonna,
go.
Alright, mate.
I'm
Hello,
going to
how
try
are
and
you?
whisper so that you
Thank
can't
you.
hear. Can dogs? Can they see into your mind?
How much have you had to drink, mate?
Okay. I don't think you give me much help. And I turn around and I check whether the dog was listening.
It just goes back to eating.
Okay, I'm going to go back to eating. You were useless.
Nice
asshole.
to speak to you.
No, good
That
chat.
very nearly became like D&D ASMR.
It's like
Can dogs read your mind?
On the treaties.
you still speaking to the fan.
Oh yeah, they haven't stopped. Like it's excruciating. The source person was like.
How to lose another sense.
Okay, so she go. All right. At this point, to stop you two talking. Look, I think you're in terms of swords, swordplay. It's my teacher Zato is the one who taught me.
Sorry, come again?
My teacher Zato,
Zato.
famous blind swordsman of the Salted City.
Santo, famous blind swordsman of the Salted City.
But look, if you want to learn any more, then talk to him. I'm going to go.
He's been there the whole time.
We've been through we've gone through in excruciating detail an essay on Bach, on history, development, and subsequent
Bark,
use.
I think, is a sentient plant who's a great musician.
Yes. Very
Great
good.
composer.
Very, very good. Bach, the great fighting musician. I'm proud of you.
Quite pleased with myself there. I'll give myself inspiration.
Yeah. Oh no.
Right.
He's got a reroll.
Back to
Oh, no.
Einod and you. Tell me about this Esper.
I don't know much about Espers, do I?
The Esper. You
Yeah, I know, but
I mean, you know about Espers. You know that psychic powers exist and some people have them.
okay.
I mean, Zato has psychic powers.
Okay.
Because you don't think that anyone can cut someone perfectly in half just with a sword.
I don't know
Zato is the blind source
who
person who.
them.
Yeah, you do.
You told me that I did it.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, and then she lied.
No,
I
no.
believe-
To be clear, the person that they're talking to is a blind swordswoman who is the pupil of Zato.
Yeah.
Zato is the bodyguard to your father.
Oh.
I did tell you this.
I know.
How intriguing.
Here's we have a common interest.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you would react more to Zato's people being here, but whatever, you know. Sorry. No, it's fine. Oh my god, I just realised who that is! No, just skewer them. Alright, I'm going to tell you everything about my sword technique. No, sorry.
Am I
Okay.
currently aware that the people was here?
I mean, you heard blind swordsperson, and you were like, nah, because Zato wouldn't leave your father's side.
You wouldn't. Okay.
But
Honestly, it was terrifying.
anyway, you know Zato is psychic, is my point, and so you know psychics exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that was.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was terrifying. I've never seen brutality like it.
Why did they do it? Do you know?
Evil.
Evil. It is not very. Doesn't give me a clear idea of who they are.
I think they were a child.
It happens.
They seemed lost.
They are killing my villagers. I do not think they are lost. I think they know exactly what they are doing.
More like they weren't fully in control.
I've heard this is the way sometimes with espers. The power itself is the what controls them.
I mean, I guess all you need to concern yourself with is the fact that we're going to kill them. So,
But perhaps there is something you need from me to facilitate this.
I mean, I'll take whatever you have to offer.
Well, you know you'll be providing you with water, but no, nothing else. Okay.
Wait, no, I want many
Too much
things.
to eat. I want many things. You're greedy, Mevis. That is good.
You got any more of these? And I have the little blood tube thing.
That is. I would rather you didn't wave that around. That is incredibly valuable. No, I don't have more of them. I don't know. You tell me. What do you think you need to fight espers? You saw a demonstration of that house.
Psychic shields.
I do not personally have this, but I have heard that there are remains of the eaters that can give these powers, perhaps.
Do you have anything that could protect us?
Weapons.
We'll take weapons.
What weapons do you need? This plant is well armed.
It's got no arms.
Long drag from the pipe. That one's not so funny. Listen, if you need something from me that can help you in your mission, then I will provide it if it is in my power to give. But beyond that, you have to fare for yourself.
Liam, are you hinting that I should ask for something specific? 'Cause if
No,
so,
no. Like just there's a chance to like tool up. You know.
Do you guys need anything?
I mean, you know.
My
you
mentor back.
Another.
Do your best Keanu Reeves impression and go, we're going to need guns. Lots of guns.
I'm gonna see
I
him
could-
in the movie with the dead dog.
I could do with like a pair of scimitars if they're going.
I mean, I could do with a pair of scimitars if they're going.
Scimitars.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this weapon.
Kind of like a curved blade, Liam? Kind of like a curved blade.
Or like the Kopesh that we have.
Like the, I'll take two Kapeshas.
Okay, Kopeshes do count as long swords.
Kopesh,
But,
Don't need that. Anything you would describe as light.
Do you have anything lighter?
Bronze is not so helpful as a metal if it doesn't have much weight to it. But
I
perhaps
feel like there might be an element of metagaming going on here. Just a
That's
little
no, it's fine.
No.
Perhaps I can see what we've got if you want lighter weapons.
I don't think the plant's very strong, little spindly arms.
You say so. I mean, he has a sword with him that looks pretty big. What is his
Four
weapon?
axes.
What is his armor made of? This grey metal. I've not seen it before. No, this. The plant.
The plant.
The plant.
Do I know?
Yeah, you know what iron is. I
It's
think.
iron.
That's steel, wasn't it?
Oh, you've got steel. Oh, you will have steel actually. Yeah, so even better. Yeah, but you think it's iron. You don't know what steel is. Oh, sorry.
Can I say it anyway?
Yeah, go on.
Other armor, it's really cheap. It was a steal.
Yeah.
Money to wire out.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
We'll edit that one out.
Well, perhaps ask him where he gets his arms from, if you have time.
Hey!
Not right now, you.
Sorry, one moment. We're just discussing whether bark is in fact better than moss art.
Oh, nice. No, that's good. That's good. Anyway, okay.
We can spend about 10 minutes thinking about
Is
it.
anyone talking about anything else at this
Oh,
dinner
yeah.
party? Yeah, I mean, okay. Yours is a long
It
dinner,
is.
but are there any narrative beats we want to hit?
I'm just
You don't have
twisting. I'm feeling. Yeah, no, I do. No, I'm feeling frustrated in myself because I want. Everybody's getting stuff done. Everyone's talking to people, and I'm.
You experienced the conversation I had with you.
Yeah,
Did
I
it feel
know,
like
I-
progress was made there? No,
In
no,
terms-
it was not. It really
In terms
was
of
not.
friendship between us two, yes. But in terms of, I want to speak to Einod, but social conventions are holding me back.
Would you be like pacing angrily down a long
I mean, I imagine you're talking to two guards who
Yeah,
are
I
like,
am.
you know,
I've
just
said that exact
handing
thing
him
to them.
clay cups of cider.
I'm getting more and more drunk.
And if that's up to you.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more drunk. I'm
I
mourning.
see him down there looking kind of antsy.
Yeah, you can kind of hear like you know, you can hear the kind of slight peaks of him talking to these two
And
guards
this is
who are
the
like.
thing you see. It's a peak.
You know, maybe you should get to know the person you're so willing to protect.
I don't know if he's worth anything.
I want to speak to Einod.
Just say hello.
What do you think he's saying?
Bloody good cider.
He's just talking about how much he appreciates you letting him stay, how much he's looking forward to the trip.
I don't know. I think you should stop drinking the cider.
I've got a feeling that I'm going to stop drinking this cider, but I'm going to keep drinking it anyway.
They're like, yes, come on, drink more, man. You're really funny.
Hey, Isla, what's your name?
And they're a bit pissed as well.
Yeah.
I am Yup, and this is my brother Twig.
Yup, Twig. That's fucking funny. I like you,
You've
Yup.
completely
Twig.
forgotten about Enod at this point.
No,
Okay.
no, I haven't. Yup, wig. I need to speak to her.
Well, I mean, didn't you say that you were going to be, you know,
Of course I'm
killing this Esper, man? You're going to go kill this fucking Esper who came out and
No, I'm gonna go
you
kill-
gotta fucking kill him,
I'm
man.
gonna fucking kill him.
You gotta kill him.
I'm gonna do it.
You gotta do it.
I will.
But if you do it, I'm sure Enod will talk to you.
Yeah, but I've got things now that I want to talk about. Things that might help me in killing the Esper.
Well, like what? Sorry.
It's just that's not what I'm doing because I'm drunk.
Okay. Is this conversation going to go anywhere?
Yeah, well, it's whether or not
You're not going to get to see Enod, barring exceptional circumstances.
All right.
So you just get more and more frustrated and pissed as the evening goes.
Hey, yeah.
Might eventually turn around to, or I know he kind of buggered off, but I'll go find the apprentice whose name I don't
You didn't get her name.
get her name. And
I would say actually, yeah, just in terms of description, fairly long cloth cape, kind of bleached white by the desert sun, cloth strip, completely shaven head. I mean, you know, it's still kind of short. Obviously, there's no buzz cut razors or anything, but keeps her hair clean and just kind of clutches onto this, what would just be a kind of regular wooden stick, but does actually contain a sword inside of it.
Listen, if Zato, famed swordsman that he is, decided to take you on as an apprentice, you must be really quite promising yourself.
No, I just.
I think you probably are. I just
Well,
want to figure out a
I mean,
little-
I think he just picked me out because I have a little bit of the gift.
You're an Esper.
I mean, not as talented as he is, but maybe a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well,
I can hear your thoughts and that kind of thing.
well, can you
It's
hear
a
me
lot of
thinking about
history. I don't really understand the words though.
why don't we have a little spark and you show me what you know? Go on.
Give me a persuasion check.
Just fight the plants. You know? That's what I do.
You just like slum over it.
I
You've got to do it.
He's good.
17.
17.
Oh, you said fight. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
What did I fart?
No.
Fight.
I
It's not Phytan F-I-G-H-T. It's P-H-Y-T-A-N because, you know, as in fighter, plant.
Because of plant.
Yeah, it's not very imaginative.
That's fucking funny.
Anyway, sorry. What was that? Okay, she goes, well, I mean, I don't... Fighting seems a little extreme here, but, I mean, you really want me to, I did learn Zato taught me what he called a party trick.
Show me.
Really? Okay. Well... and she begins to kind of look around, and she kind of goes over to someone, one of the kind of servants holding an amphora of water, and goes, sorry, is it right if I just, thank you, and just kind of puts it on the cusp of the table, and kind of recruits, kind of, in a kind of shrunken way, starts to pull out this blade. It's fairly neat. You notice it's similar to the steel you've got, but there's a tinge of blue to it. Blue. And she kind of breathes fairly heavily and then just kind of swings the sword in front of the amphora. And so far as you can tell, the sword just passes clean through it. The amphora doesn't split, it doesn't even tremble. But she just kind of...
How in the bloody hell did you do that?
I mean, the first thing, and I would say you pick up that, interestingly, where the blade passed through, although she didn't appear to cut the amphora, where the blade passed through it is damp with water. I mean, I've only really learned one technique, which is just basically cutting and not cutting, as Zato calls it.
So, just again, you can pass through armor and straight.
Yeah,
get
that's
straight to the fleshy bits.
that's the idea. Yeah, but I haven't used it on anyone like that yet.
But you could. Could you
I
teach me
could.
that?
No, I don't. I do not think that is. No.
Why not?
Well, I'm not a teacher. I don't know much at all. You can give me an insight check actually if you want.
Inside.
Yeah.
15.
You think she has used this on people before?
What makes you so afraid of employing your skill? All it takes to be a teacher is to teach someone.
Well, I think I need to know a bit more than what I do currently before I can start doing anything. I mean, I'm not. No, I don't. And she kind of shrinks into herself again and she closes the sword.
Why? Something happened?
That was American.
I know, it's because
So
we've
something
been
happened?
American all day.
Oh, sorry. Fair enough.
Slipping in there.
What?
Yeah, very good. Well done.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, very good.
Good fall.
Congratulations.
Anyway, I think I've had too much cider. Maybe I'll retire. She hasn't drunk any cider.
Oh, go on.
She kind of
just
slowly
tell me.
edges away. And
Just tell me about it.
are you following her?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Can you stop following me, please? As you're getting to like the stairway going down.
Sort of like, throw my France.
Let's be friends.
Yay!
Why can't we be friends?
Listen. I don't mean to pressure you, I just think you've got a remarkable talent there. A great technique, and it would be of huge interest to me just to learn about it. Even if you can't teach it to me, I'd just like to record it. Maybe spend some time chatting to you.
Well,
For a drink, you know? These are your evening drinks.
Right. Well, look, I think if you want to learn, you should learn from Zato. If you ever come to the Salted City.
It's just that he's not here, is he?
No, she's kind of slowly, feeling out where the edge of the steps are and going down. I mean, you've noticed that she doesn't navigate blindfolded particularly well. She kind of has to use her sword to kind of poke around. She doesn't have much confidence in moving around.
Are you actually blind?
No, this is just,
Training.
yeah.
How do you find that?
but it's all right. Zato says that it will help me train my psychic senses. So I'm gaining other things.
Did he tell you why it would help you train your psychic senses?
He said it was he's blind, and maybe that is that's how his sword style developed. I imagine so. If he wants to teach me his skills, I have to be. Can I go, please?
Yes, of course you can. I'm sorry to keep you.
Okay. She slowly makes her way down the steps and scuffles away.
I return my conversations with person.
They are invigorating.
God, yeah.
So nice to meet a fellow plant.
Just flashbacks.
I kind of feel like this plant should be like smoking a cigar, but it can't.
Both are sort of indicating cigars.
Yes. He's a cucumber plant, by the way, in case that's relevant to you. So not much mobility to this one.
No.
Anyway, maybe the cucumber's like a cigar.
Oh, that's good.
Cut the end off.
I did write that he is canonically prior to my comment a cucumber
I'm
plant,
not
but
gonna
yeah.
say it.
What? You
Would
don't
it
have
be-
to.
Nothing, never mind, no.
Would it be considered bad form on fighting?
If he's a cucumber plant,
I mean, if you
because
are-
he end up, like, basically circumcision at that point, isn't it?
Shut up.
There it is.
Yeah. Well, it was a weird, it was a thing. It was a whole thing.
If you want,
What, circumcision?
I
Still
think
is a whole
still
thing.
is a-
Okay, now
Well,
it's
not a
making
whole
it continue to be a thing.
Okay, sorry. Sorry for punishing you for your creepy comments.
is with those plants that produce fruit or flowers and
Mhm.
those things.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of kind of asking for one. Well, is that considered like?
No, I mean they'll usually trade them, but like, it's a freebie. But you might to a fellow fighter. Oh, give me a persuasion check.
I don't even know how that conversation starts. 9.
I don't think that would be appropriate for you.
No, you're probably right.
I want to spit it.
I don't give up my cucumbers for just anybody, old boy.
No. Should we return to our conversation?
Yes, right. Yes. Anyway,
Soil degradation in the surrounding area.
Okay, I think at that point, eventually the dinner peters out, unless anyone else has anything else to add.
No, I want to go to bed. We've had a great night, haven't we? We've all spoken to people we want to speak to. I've had fun. I used a beetle as a spoon, so. Leave. Clapping everyone out.
I'm just gonna sort of like extend my coil and just sort of keep him steady around the shoulders.
Who's that? I don't know. Oh, Mr. You've done this twice, haven't you?
Twice today.
Twice today. You should ask me out first.
Right.
Good night.
I assume you'll retire.
Yeah.
You go sleep. You're guided back to your rooms. You go to sleep. Anyone have any dreams or anything?
Do I have any dreams?
It's up to you, mate.
I dreamt the other night that I had 2 kids and they were being chased by Satanists and it was really scary.
Well, Satanists don't exist in this setting,
And
but
I had
there's
a
Satanist
shitty
equivalents.
dream that my kids were being chased by those
Cultists.
mutant
Mutant haters. Ah, you don't know who they are, but you haven't heard of mutant haters.
I have a weird arse dream. Where
Dreaming of
I'm
that. Oh,
they're everywhere.
what does it mean?
No, it's
It's a Freudian dream.
I'm in a forest and can only see trees, but occasionally hear the screaming of a boy.
Can I suggest a dream for you?
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
That's cool. Yeah.
Maybe you dream that you awaken in this sort of maze and lay down in front of you as far as the eye can see is just pills. Behind you come
But ghosts come from behind you to pursue you.
and you run and you go the exit, and as you leave, you realise you just come back in the entrance on the other side.
Very good. Okay.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's kind of like dream.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that will give you inspiration. That's fucking
I
great.
have it, but thank you.
Okay, cool. And I mean, you just dream of being a plant. Well, you still have. I mean, as I say,
Still dream.
you are.
I have dreams.
People would
I
consider it
just
analogous to
thought-
sleep, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
I mean, you
that's
just connect to the
lovely.
greater, you know, plant subconsciousness. You know, very Gaia theory kind of stuff. Right. You wait the next day. Perhaps some of you a little hungover. Well, you
I'm a little bit hungover.
perhaps. You gather your things. In the morning, as you wake up, some of these servants each brings you a camel bladder containing 10 days worth of water in it as advance payment, and also, you know, so you can not die of thirst. Babus, you're brought 2 bronze short swords, although a bronze short sword is kind of closer to a heavy club than it is to a nice sharp weapon, but it's functional.
What would that be?
Just 2 short swords.
No, also just.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in certain circumstances, you would be hard pressed to like cut something easily with them.
No, like damage wise.
Short sword is 1d6, and it's light, so you can add your dex. Although I believe the plants wanted them, but
Oh,
Solomon.
no, I just probably have. I'm gonna give it to him. I need to know.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, you can look up short sword in the player's handbook.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you've got anything else going on at Red Rock, I assume you.
Going
Leave?
to the fastest.
Oh yes, because it's a red brick. Yeah. You wake up. Oh shit! I missed my lecture.
You stumbled.
Okay. Do you head off?
Hell yeah.
Can we so that's a long rest?
Yes, that's a long rest. So regain any hit points you may have lost.
Action surge.
Yes, and your action surge. Right. So you come out into the swamp, into the salt marsh. Similarly, you pass through Joppa, the central town of the salt marsh, from which it gets its name.
So do you give me the swords? Sure.
I mean, I was thinking we could have this that conversation on the way there. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Just write it down.
Sure. You've got 2 bronze short swords.
And in exchange, you give me friendship.
Couple of farmers as you go kind of give you suspicious looks, but give you wide berth. You perhaps notice that there's a new sharpness to their vine reapers this morn after yesterday's attack, and there's definitely Einod's guards, rather than kind of staying at Red Rock, have some of them come down to Joppa, and you kind of, as you're coming down Red Rock, see some of them heading northwards to where Shem once was. You're free to interrupt at any point if you're having conversations on the travels,
Where
but
are we? Where? What's the forest / swamp called?
yeah. So I mean, sorry. So you're in the salt marsh,
Right.
Joppa.
Okay.
You do need to figure out where you're heading, more or less. Walking straight into the jungle with no plan is a good way to die. You perhaps might want to go to the mushroom village Kaikakaya, where you trained with Yogoth. So you've got a connection there, and that's a very common. You'll have been to Kaikakaya before. It's a very common kind of pit stop for plunderers and adventurers who brave the jungle. They will kind of go there and venture out and come back. Although it's still hazardous getting there. You have to pass through the jungle, but you can just follow the river Spy to it. So it's a fairly easy route. Hard to get lost. But if you've got somewhere else you want to try to go to first in this trail,
So that thing that happened yesterday, that was a real sham.
at least 30 people died.
That was a real sham.
That's really inappropriate.
Feel like
Good start. Good start.
So Hermavis gives you all a pep talk along the way.
Good job on that part. Did a good job on that part.
Stop laughing.
I think these puns are getting a little out of hand.
Funny, there's precedent there.
You're heading north. I mean, you need to discuss amongst yourself what your plans are. I can't just tell you where you're going.
No.
So I think we should go to Cup and Kai.
Cup to Char is a different town entirely. Kayukakaya. Kayukakaya.
Kayukakaya.
I know one of the wardens.
Wardens.
Well, I know one of the wardens in Kaya. We wanted to take a pit stop there.
That's a strange way to pronounce it, but okay.
Kaya.
I mean, you were been there for like at least a year. It's Caillou Kukaya.
Caillou It's like saying it's like saying Coca-Cola but without the L's.
Yeah.
Caillou
Kukaya, Pepsi Cola split. You know.
Other brands are available.
Yes. What will Pepsi do?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, let's go to Caillou Kukaya.
It's about to see you little down, but I remembered why.
Yeah.
I've never been there, presumably.
No, you don't know what wardens are either. The rest of you will know that the wardens are a kind of loose conclave of bodyguards who, you know, train other wardens, and they take it upon themselves to protect the kind of fledgling villages of Cud and beyond.
Can you remind me, I'm trying to remember which way around it was. Was Yurgoth the warden that actually trained me?
Yurgoth trained you. Your primary trainer was Yurgoth.
Yeah. And she is the daughter of...
She's, you're not quite sure, she's either the daughter or the granddaughter of Indrix, who was a very famous warden, who also guarded Kai.
Well, let's go to Kai.
Don't look at me, I'm an idiot.
I heard that you were good at travelling.
I mean, yeah, I can walk through those jungles really well. I can find food in them, but I don't know where we're going.
Well, we follow the river.
Spy.
Zwei.
Where's the river?
River Spy.
Two.
River Spy. Because we have to.
Yeah, where is it?
Okay, so, assuming you're trying to get to the jungle to pursue this Esper, the furthest kind of point of civilization in the jungle that you know of is Kaikakaya. You can get there by heading northeast. You'll go from the salt marsh through the red canyons into the forest, and you can fairly easily follow the river Svai and reach Kaikakaya upon its banks. From there, I mean, currently, so far as you've told me, you don't really have much of a plan, and there's a lot of jungle to cover. So
Maybe someone around there will know something.
yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's got skilled hunters and trackers there who have to be pretty keen to kind of the happenings around them. So it might be the first point of investigation. Alternatively, you might want to venture eastward to Rusttown, which is within the Red Canyons. You've been there. You at least have heard of it. You've definitely heard of it.
What's closer?
Probably equidistant, but Kai you have to brave the jungle, which is more dangerous. But you two will know that the Red Canyons are, you know, can be dangerous themselves. You know, at this point, it's basically: do you want to get into the jungle? Do you want to have a kind of point of operation and try to investigate around there? Do you want to head to a town where you can find, you know, arms and mercenaries who themselves may brave the jungle, and, you know, look for word of mouth, try to gather support? Those are the kind of things you've got to think about.
Jungle.
I say we're already in the jungle. Let's go.
Are we already in
No, I mean we're already in
Oh,
the
don't
swampy
trust his
jungle.
face.
Sorry?
Don't trust your little face.
No, you're not in the
Ian's
jungle.
gonna
I
make
mean,
miserable shit happen to us, literally
Whichever one we
wherever
go.
we go. Wherever we go.
This is a
So,
world
like,
of
let's just
misery and pain. Let's just
And I've had enough
die
of
of
that already.
cancer.
Whoa!
Steph just boom, right in front of you. Okay.
Listen up. I don't know nothing about this Coca-Cola, Kaio, the
KO. One hit
that
KO.
place, that place. I don't know nothing about it. But if you point me in the direction, I'm really good at walking through jungles.
I mean, you think your dog, also having bitten the leg of this Esper, might have some scent, so, you know, you can use a dog as a
Also,
dog.
my dog, having bitten the leg of that Esper, might have some scent of. And I look at the dog, and do I think it? What's the dog? Does
But can we trust it?
So, yeah, that's not that's not helpful. Dog.
Yeah, you think the dog might, you know, I mean, it's a dog. Like, I mean, if it bites someone, it probably has a good idea of what they smell like.
Do you know the way, dog?
Oh my god.
Yes.
You
think-
Does it recognise what I've said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dog's smart. You are.
Yeah. Does it look like it knows the way?
You don't think the dog knows the way right now, but you think it knows a scent that it can pick up again. It's a good
The
dog.
dog's gonna find it.
Right.
Right.
Dog's
Dog.
definitely
I
gonna
was
find
going to
it.
go to the jungle.
All right.
3 votes.
What? What am I doing? Looking at my notes to figure out why the hell this is. I actually don't. This is making me paranoid.
I just start walking into the jungle and about 10 feet.
You're not at the jungle yet. Okay, so
Towards the jungle.
you're here, Jopper. You've got to go
Where is
through
it?
the red canyons, and then there's the jungle.
Okay.
Sorry, I am working on the map. I will get it done soon. I'm really sorry. Yeah, but it'll be a lot easier to explain, particularly to people watching. If we can switch to a screen that has the map on it, but I will get that done soon.
As opposed to streams just high quality.
No, don't show it again. It's
No, it's been
It's
improved.
Oh!
Very good.
Been waiting for time.
oh god.
There he is.
At the end of this, Harry's going to touch up so much that he's going to be like incredibly good at drawing faces. All right, get that off the screen. Come on, come on. Right.
Eyes, I think.
Of course, if you're just following the path trodden in front of you, you are going to come to Shem first before you get to the Red Canyons. Otherwise, you're going to have to brave through, you know, the salty pools of Salt Marsh, and there are crocodiles and other things besides in the wilds of this place.
I wouldn't mind going through Shem.
Sure.
See if Fufu is,
I mean, getting to the edge of Shem, you can see there are a few Joplin farmers kind of in silence, kind of slowly, what would the word be? They're slowly, you know, administering to the scene. You can see that some of them are kind of putting together these graves. They dig kind of, rather than being kind of what the long, flat ones that you're used to, they dig deeper pits, which you will probably know that they bury people vertically rather than horizontally. Give me a religion check. 22. You know that they need to be buried vertically because the head needs to be at the top so that their soul can ascend to the spirit realm.
especially true in the case of. The only way down.
God damn it. This
Zone
head thing is getting out of control. Coming to its edge.
That's a really good noise.
Coming to its edge, you do see that a number of sticks have been placed in the ground around the place and kind of woven brainstalk tassels in particular patterns have been fastened to these things, and they're going to mark out a perimeter. Yeah, everyone's got a passive perception over 10 actually, so I will say, getting close, you can see there is a subtle colour shift to the kind of immediate vicinity of Shem and the rest around it. While the salt marsh is normally a very kind of, overall a kind of deep, dark, verdant green, here the plants have turned paler, greyer, slightly. They haven't crumbled away, but there is a withering to them. That's something you notice, and you do notice one person who appears to be, even in this hot weather, kind of dressed in a kind of almost like a niqab of pale white cloth with some markings and kind of paintings on them that you suspect is a kind of religious garb, who appears to be administering to these stakes around with the tassels, and appears to be the only one who has ventured beyond this marked area. The rest of the farmers here only work kind of at its edge. One other thing you notice, sorry, I'll give you a sec, is that a pig with its mouth in a tackle is parked up at the centre of Shem, or as close as you can get, because at its destroyed epicenter there is this kind of tangled kind of ball almost of chrome. What was dragged down kind of melted and reformed into this almost kind of a facsimile of silver fire in some ways, and there's kind of scatterings and slivers and javelins of this chrome similarly scattered around the place.
I would like to go up near to one of the withering plants and root in.
Sure. So getting to the image, they have demarked this place, so you can get to the kind of the edge of it where these plants you can see, decay beyond it. So, yeah, I mean, rooting in at its edge, similarly, you don't cross that threshold that they've marked off.
Not yet.
Okay. I mean, I think you could probably guess this has religious significance. Okay. Rooting in, I believe, takes 10 minutes.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
To begin rooting.
Okay. He just shuffles out of his urn and starts rooting into the, salty soil.
Should we look away or something?
You don't know what he's doing.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna have a little conversation, find out what's going on with these plants.
Doesn't look like it. It looks like you're digging into the soil.
Yeah, that's how I communicate.
This sounds like a good idea. You have to root it.
You're gonna
No,
have to leave
no,
like that out.
I'm gonna have to leave.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start taking away inspiration.
How long does this take?
Yes.
How long does this take?
On average, 10 minutes.
Okay. Am I near the cave?
Yeah, I mean the cave is kind of beyond this little marked area just a bit. You can return to it if you want.
Yeah, I would like to return to it. Yes.
Sure.
Is Lucky still in there?
No, you don't see Lucky here.
Do I see anything else? Because this is probably.
But you may recall you carried Lucky's body back to Red Rock.
Oh, I thought I carried it back to the cave.
Oh, did you carry it back to the cave? Oh, I'm really sorry, I forgot. Okay, sorry. Yes, it is in the cave still then.
Oh shit. Okay.
This place, so far as you can tell, has been untouched.
Okay. He needs to be buried. I'm gonna bury him.
Okay.
Is there a shovel in the cave?
No.
Okay. I may go up. I may ask.
I mean, they're digging with hoes, these farmers, so like it's fairly arduous work. Hoes in their hands, basically.
Okay. All right. I will do it.
Yesterday they were smoking with hookahs, today
Dig with those.
Thanks.
There it is.
Okay. You take him outside. You kind of find a space amongst the kind of rocks and rubble that surrounded his little hillock, and you begin to dig. Yeah, I mean, you've seen him gone off to the cave. I mean, you know he had a connection to Lucky, so it's up to you whether you go over to him. But you can see him some way off, kind of amidst, some boulders and so on.
And I go over, but not so close that he knows that I'm there.
Give me a stealth check if you want to sneak up. Yeah. So you.
Is this done? It's too good.
Yeah, it's very good. No, it's fine. Okay, yeah. So you kind of you get close nearby. You can see that he's very carefully laid down Lucky's body. Simply tidied up the wheelchair that got shattered previously, and is kind of just with his hands digging away at the earth and pulling up brine stalk and grass.
Without saying anything, because I would say something wrong, I'm just gonna go over and help him dig.
Okay.
I just look at him and just do that.
Cool. You don't fall in the hole. Yeah. No, that would be a bit mean. Right. You begin to dig. Seb's left us.
I made him get me water.
Harry.
I thought you were just going to give me a bit of that one there, but then.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Okay. Cool. All right. Great. So you've rooted into the soil. You begin to plug into the plant matrix. Geometry, history, algebra, plant facts, they all come past.
Just literally floating past him.
No,
It's just
the kind of plant fact you get on like a
here is the
Snapple
powerhouse.
can.
You all remember the 3 core sciences? Physics, chemistry, and plant facts?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you connect. I mean, you can feel there's a. It's not like there's an instant kind of demarcation of where things of life has been eroded, as it were. Is you can tell that kind of this draining effect fades the further it gets from the epicenter of the town. But you can feel, even at the plants furthest from the center of the town that you connect with, there has been kind of a bit of life force sucked from them.
My kindred, what's happened to you? I don't understand.
The best they can present you with is a kind of a notion of withering alien to them, as if life was just shorn from them.
Was it water or something?
Just life force.
Is there anything I can do to help?
No.
Are you going to be okay?
I don't want to give the plants a voice because I'll just do like, yeah, man. It's cool.
No, you have to.
No, because I don't want to give him a personality. The point is you're connecting to like collective information,
Yeah,
not.
but can the
All right.
information have that?
Hey, bro. Listen, man. Kind of a general withering vibe going on here, but we're cool.
I love this.
You watch in a couple of months, we'll bounce back. We're gonna be a-okay.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. Anything I should know about what's gone on the last 24 hours?
That's a very precise measurement of time, man.
Well, I've only been away for a day.
Nah, man. Just people coming and going.
Okay, well, I'm glad.
I shouldn't say man. I'm saying man because like that kind of character says man. Sorry.
Yeah.
No. It's more like that. It's in lieu of a comma.
Sure.
Isn't it? Yeah. Well, in that case, I'll leave you to it. But keep on keeping on.
All right, bro. Catch you on the flip. And you into your urn.
What happens when
Okay.
plants gain sentience? They lose this.
Sorry.
I'm just redoing this voice instead.
Oh, right. Okay, like they're like, oh, hello, how are you doing? If they're sentient, but they're like, yeah, man. If they're Tim, basically. Right.
It'd be a lot less grating on my voice.
Yeah. You'd save yourself some
If
pain.
you get drunk, can you do that?
Like maybe.
I don't know if plants can get drunk, Shannon.
Maybe deep down, hey, look,
Plants
you
can't
put
talk,
vodka. You put vodka.
You
in
got me
my-
there.
Maybe if you get maybe Tom Hopper has actually invented this persona for himself. Not actually our plants story. Maybe he's
Yeah,
just-
but then
What, and the other guy
The other guy.
simultaneously invented the exact same.
They're all
persona.
trapped in the same lie. Anyway, I think we're getting distracted. You come out after 10 minutes. I mean, it takes you digging this hole quite a bit longer. I would say 30 minutes at least. Lucky you didn't have any legs, so you don't have to be as deep, fortunately. You kind of, as gently as you can in this, this kind of vertical ditch with a bit of kind of salt water accruing at the bottom, kind of manage to lower him as gently as you can and put him in. You both kind of stand back and
Thank you.
How you doing over there?
Great, mate. I'm just going to check. Can I go into the? Did I check and see if there was anything of any? Because I did it in a bit of a rush yesterday. Can I just? Check
yeah, I mean, going into the cave, this is a little metagamey, but it might be a bit overpowered for your character. Just like grab all of the artifacts.
No.
So I would say going in terms of like taking stuff, you don't have enough intelligence to tell what stuff is junk and what stuff is valuable and what stuff is useless. And if you took it all, you'd be burdened. So you just wouldn't be able to carry all of it.
No love letters
So-
written to me or anything like that. Not love letters, but like.
Oh, like, dear Tetsu,
Yeah.
this is me, Lucky, writing to you in the case I die.
Nothing
Here's
like-
everything I know about all data artifacts and technology.
No.
Tragically not.
That's a
Don't
shame.
yeah, I mean, you don't know if he was literate. I mean, he taught you some of the hieroglyphica, the language of the eaters, but you don't know if he could write in
Okay,
that language.
right. That's all I needed to know.
Sure.
Then I shall say goodbye to my cave. Goodbye, cave. I wasn't going to. But it all went very.
Yeah, the mouth of the cave's like, oh, goodbye.
Bye, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the kid from Aladdin.
Oh
Cave
yeah.
talking Aladdin.
No, it's a lion, isn't it?
It's a lion.
Or a tiger. Or
Oh
something.
yeah. No, it's like one of the like a foxhole but bigger basically.
All right,
Right.
let's go kill this bitch.
Yes.
Hard good. He has pulled out a shotgun. Okay.
I'm
As you
currently talking to the pig.
do you walk across the marked area, resisting all social pressures?
I feel like he doesn't have much of a concept of social pressures.
You understand religion though. I mean, you come from a religious
Can
background.
I
haven't you?
skirt around the marked area?
Yeah, the pig is in the centre though.
So I can't get to the pig.
Not without trespassing.
I really want to go and talk to the pig, right?
Can you talk to
Because
No.
no, but I feel like he's been so outclassed in all conversations over the last 2 days.
You can
The
just
closest he's
Harry.
gonna get
Here's
to
the
a
amazing thing about
knowledge
D&D.
level.
You can just go and talk to any of these people here.
They all look clever too. The pig looks like an interesting.
Your
source
level.
of conversation, the sort of thing that I can have a one-to-one with.
Okay, the pig looks to you with kind of bored eyes that hide a keen intellect, and it looks at you and not my kind, and returns to chewing on brine stalk.
A clever pig.
Well, no, I'm taking the piss, but
Okay,
you know.
No. Can I get the dog to talk to the pig?
The dog and the pig just share a glance, and the dog keeps on walking. The dog, if anything, ignores the pig.
Right, okay, all good chance they could be plotting against me if they talk to each other anyway. So, I won't, I'll just stare and sit and look at it, so don't really mind anything to do with this, like digging or hole going into or whatever, yeah.
Okay. I mean, going into holes and digging is like, you know, you did a lot of that back in the day.
Okay, but then I went into a bad hole, remember?
Yeah, no, I know.
Spoilers.
Spoiler, la la la.
Bad hole. Right. Okay. I will say you finish whatever you're doing. You regroup. You heading on your way.
Yeah, let's go.
Cool.
That dog.
So the kind of these ancient pathways that have been kind of revealed by footfall in recent years do not extend to the north eastern direction. You're heading towards the Red Canyons and to the jungle beyond. So you do begin to kind of like take footsteps that sink a bit into the ground, and you have to skirt around salted pools, and at some points a crocodile just kind of like and then just kind of scuttles back into the water and just kind of and sinks. But you avoid incidents from the far. I will say as you get kind of just beyond Shem, you perhaps do catch maybe the squeal of a pig on the breeze. No, I mean actually, didn't you give me a good religion check earlier? Was that for Joplin religion or not? I can't remember.
It was for why they buried them.
Okay, I will say also that there's a kind of they have ideas of a desecrated ground and stuff and areas that are cursed essentially, and part of the ritualistic fashion of kind of returning life to it is the ritual slaughter of a pig, and then just leaving it there for a month basically. Nice.
Hygienic.
Yeah. I mean, you're in a salt marsh. It's not hygiene doesn't come up a premium here. Everyone here is just like soaked in mud.
On the way to the
Not me
Silver
anymore.
Mountain, I want to be enthralling everyone with stories of pig slaughter and souls going up.
You give everyone a brief but entertaining précis on the faith of the Joplin farmers.
Do I know any essays or extended works or treatises on the sacrifice of animals in general in religion?
Give me a heck of a history check.
19.
That's incredibly precise, and the consortium does not typically concern itself with the kind of the minor religions of kind of small
Fair
peoples. They're more concerned with the kind of the deeds of the great gods, the eaters.
Yeah.
If anything. No, not really.
Fair enough.
Cool. So
Alright, boring today.
you emerge from Joppa, and green salt marsh gives way to red soil. Before you, the dry earth splits like salt-weathered skin, forming a maze of canyons and bluffs. Beyond, the jungle beckons. Although only a precursor to the dangers of Cud's twisted jungle, Hababus and Tumbleheart know that the red canyons do not provide a leisurely passage. Many an unwary traveller has been swallowed on their way to the other side, or to one of the many settlements made in the canyon shade. Speaking of, you spy the thin trickles of smoke threading the sky to the east, marking the location of Rusttown. What are you doing?
And I feel like we should go to Rusttown, just in case.
You can't quite see Kaya from here. Actually, well, you don't know what where Kaya is.
No.
The problem is that with your 18 passive perception, you almost certainly could, but you're the only one who doesn't know what it is.
I told them to point me in the direction.
Oh, you can try to point it out.
Vaguely.
Give me a perception check.
That ain't happening.
No.
Okay, so you suspect that one of these rising bluffs blocks the view currently.
I want to go to small town, small mining town.
Rusttown is quite a ways away. I mean, it's
Oh, is it?
far in
We
the distance.
are.
Okay,
Yeah. Rusttown is
Joppa
east.
here,
Mm-hmm.
Red Canyons,
Mm-hmm.
Cud Jungle, and then over here is where Rusttown is. I mean, I've got to flip this round, I suppose. So I'm
So
doing
it's
everything
on
based
the
on.
way.
I say we.
Well, okay.
Sort of. It's not.
You're heading
the
this
opposite
way.
direction.
Rusttown is this way.
Okay.
You're heading northeast. Rusttown is east.
I say we keep going.
Okay.
Up to you.
Well, that's all I say. What does the dog think?
Dog.
Yes,
East.
I agree.
He
Let's
says
go to
east,
the-
not northeast.
Thanks.
That was one bark.
He says our journey's going to be difficult. Rough.
He says, "Sky's darkened in the east."
Lightning.
He says he doesn't know.
Does he?
No, he doesn't know.
Oh, would you?
He doesn't know.
Okay.
Do you pet the
Well,
dog?
Sorry.
Do you pet the dog?
I look at the
You
dog.
said woody and that kind of.
No,
Kind
that
of
was
like,
just.
woody.
No, that was just
No,
me
okay,
going
cool. So I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
As you do.
Don't want to lose an opportunity for the dog to fuck with the party. So,
I don't want to lose another hand.
I want to stroke the dog. I want to be like, how did a boy as good as you end up with someone as round as you?
he's very receptive to your petting.
Yeah, he is.
Sorry, I just
Almost like an entirely different dog.
Really?
Yeah,
If I look in the dog's eyes, what does he give back?
yeah. I mean, you don't lock eyes with the dog. It's getting petted.
Alright. Okay.
Anyway, all right. So,
Feel an intense bond with the dog. I love it.
Kaikakaya, Rusttown, or somewhere else.
Have you pointed in the
Kaikakaya.
right direction for Kaikakaya?
Well, they told you it's in the jungle, and you can see that
Can I see
thin
the
river trailing outwards, and that you assume is River Spy.
Let's stick with the
Let's
plan.
follow the river.
Yeah, follow the river.
You said the river. Let's follow the river.
Follow the river.
All right, you descend into the Red Canyons.
Yeah, I'm trying as well. Follow the river, Brick Road.
You die. Okay. What follows are a few days of descending into this.
Few days.
Few fucking days.
Yeah.
Few fucking. We didn't
Calm
know.
down.
Few
It's
fucking
gonna
days.
take a couple of hours.
Yeah. No, like you're trying to travel through canyons. I mean,
Oh yeah, that's tough.
No, just
Let's
use
stop
my
buddy.
coil like a zip wire.
unfortunately not.
Someone observes that Seb has cut his hair.
Yeah, that's probably my girlfriend.
Perhaps.
I don't know if this is the most relevant
Right.
thing to be continuing.
Great pause in the narrative there, guys.
Sorry,
Let's keep
I
going.
only noticed that
I did. I
I
s-
cut my hair.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
And
All
my
right.
haircut was much more than you did.
I got to be seriously bickering about haircuts. Let's get back on track.
We're going to.
It's been a few days
Yeah.
in the Red Canyons. It's a little maddening. These kind of twisting walls of repeating, red compacted soil and stone. Who's leading the group?
I think
It's me.
Okay, can you give me a
And the dog.
survival check?
Oh,
Is the dog? Are you specifically trying to do or anything like on top of that? On top of navigating this place, are you avoiding stuff, looking for stuff, any of that kind of thing?
I'm not an idiot, I'm an idiot.
But you're good at
I'm
survival.
Good survivalist.
Yes.
So I know, the snakes might come and get you. The eagles can come up. Like maybe you fall into a pit. I'm watching for pits that you might fall into. I don't want to fall into the river. All of these things I'm keeping a watchful eye.
Okay. Well, no rivers. You keep an eye out
We're
for
following
pits.
the river, aren't we?
No. So to be clear, you're going into a dry, arid, cracked canyon. Beyond it is a
Opposite of the
jungle,
river.
through which is a river.
Okay. Sorry.
Sorry. I will work on the map. I'm really sorry. Okay. It's like you're not.
It's because we
It's also I don't pay any attention. That is.
Yeah, you have to notice that I'm drawing a bad face.
It's not bad.
Okay, to be clear, if you were to look at London from a distance, you could see it's on the River Thames. That doesn't mean you're walking by a river.
Totally. It was an early description for you.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I should have been clear.
I'm keeping a watchful eye out for spooky things.
Yeah, great, okay. What's your survival check?
Etc. It was 9 plus 8, which is 17.
Okay, cool. I mean, as you're going, as you say, survival, you're keeping an eye out for things. No holes appear before you in the ground or anything. No river to follow. I mean, as you go, occasionally you'll kind of grab a rather large praying mantis and just take a fucking bite out of its thorax and
Lovely.
offer it to everyone else.
No.
No.
I don't offer it to anyone else.
Oh,
Put it
my
in
mistake.
pocket.
You don't have pockets.
In my
I mean,
the
you do keep.
side of my sweaty leather chaps.
My ripped denim
I
jeans.
assume that the one that has leather trousers and is tearing away.
My Steve Jobs turtleneck. No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Let's just hold it down there, and eventually, after a few hours, when we have dinner, I will offer it to them.
Okay, when it's all, all the juices have run out of it.
Sorry, guys.
But yeah, my point is that, you know, you do the kind of horrible survival things while the rest of you kind of look like, oh god. But yeah, I mean, actually, you were both proficient in survival, I think, as well. You've done similar things to this. You'll have eaten ants off of rocks as a quick, you know, trail ration and so on. Of course, the ants here are like, you know, this big.
The rocks are this big.
Be careful. With leaves that are like tiny. It's been a few days. I'm just going to roll some dice here.
Oh no!
You die!
Olé.
No. When you've gone through a few splits and you see coming up the ways towards you 2 people. Human, you think, or humanish. One of them does appear to have rather kind of slick, smooth, hairless skin and large, watery eyes, while the other one has a kind of slightly kind of lopsided face with a kind of larger eye on the other, but they look, you know, normal human. So far as you can tell, approaching your way, you can kind of see them coming from the opposite end of this. They you know, you see each other quite a bit before you can hear each other. But yeah, so you can see on their person they do have arms, kind of mix of bronze and iron. They, you would know, seem to be kind of in the, you know, the assortment of gear that is typical of a plunderer of some sort, or a mercenary or a guard, that kind of thing. But you know, a sellsword basically. But they kind of, you know, you can't hear them, but they kind of wave to you as you approach.
Here we go.
Hello. Hello there.
I didn't actually figure out a voice for these people. You're right. How you doing?
Oh, one.
I can't do Scottish at all, so it's going to go disastrously.
Yeah, that's good, great.
All right, I venture it's going a bit up the way.
No what?
Do you have a translator with you?
Hello, yes, I'm his friend. Sorry. Learnt language from the fighting, so I've got a bit of a better elocution.
Significantly better elocution. You can hear it in the top.
Don't look at
Yeah,
me
so
when you say that.
hello there. You know, how are you doing?
I want the other one to speak. Sorry.
No, we couldn't hear the other one. Couldn't hear the other
What
one.
are you want me to talk for? Thursday, perfectly fine.
No, I'd rather talk to you.
What?
Do you not understand me?
Just a tiny bit.
You guys, she wants to talk to you.
I think she thinks you're a curiosity.
Oh, fuck that.
Right, hello.
What are you guys out here doing?
Oh, well, I mean, we were just... You're heading to... Where are you going?
Following the dog.
Where's the dog going?
The jungle.
I just point.
Just out of interest, why do you want to know?
Oh, well, I mean, we came back from that way. We were heading to Kagakaya, mercenary work. But I just, if you're heading that way, warn you the passage ahead is blocked off. Well, blocked off, but snapjaws have settled in that valley. So
Snapjaws.
yeah. So I mean, you'll know snapjaws.
Yeah.
You don't. You two do. Snapjaws, these horrible, pesky little things, kind of hyena people. They're short and squat and sinuous, and they're just dumb and annoying and like largely kind of default to banditry. Although some of them, you know, are civilized.
And they're great step.
No, their heads are like a emaciated hyenas, whereas his head is like a sphere.
His head's like a
No, stop it, Seb.
Dangerous.
How dangerous are they? I mean, on their own, they're fairly. They're not a threat. You could kick around a snapjaw easily. In a group, they do pose a threat. I mean, they have killed people before. But yes, no. I mean, there's some kind of abandoned merchant, you know, caravan in the valley or something, parked around it, or something.
Do you know?
abandoned merch.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like it. I saw a saltback. You, of course, know saltbacks, the large albino tortoises that dromads used to cross the desert.
A live saltback or a dead saltback?
Looked pretty dead to me.
Oh dear.
Yes,
Do you
dear.
think the 6 of us could take them together?
Well, I'd rather not risk it. I mean, we were going to head back.
We were heading there too. So, come on.
Right. I mean, well, okay. So, I mean, yeah. So just to be clear, I mean, I think they were. I think it's an ambush, but they kind of they spied us spying them, and then they kind of insisted we pay a toll. If you figured we'd just go the other way around, really. But,
Snap jaws and then tolls.
I mean, I think they were just improvising. Brilliant intellect that they possess. Yeah.
What does your friend think?
Sounds smart.
I didn't think that, two people could maybe measure that easily overdone snapjaws.
Is there even another way around? Still, do you know?
Well, I figure so. I mean,
I don't know.
you think you could probably navigate around, but it might take a while.
Maybe. I can find a way.
How many
Maybe.
snap jaws were there?
Well, we can't have at least a dozen. So
I think the six of
Well,
us could take a dozen.
6 of us could take a dozen. If you're down
How
for a
big
bit of-
is a snap
We
jaw?
Snapjaw. Well, I mean, this is going to be terrible.
This
for
is
people.
me in character. 'Cause
Okay.
I've never seen them before.
Snapjaw would come up to actually. Well, you're quite short. Okay, everyone is because of malnutrition.
I'm 5'6".
Your character or you?
Character.
Okay.
She's so tall.
Well, yeah, because you had good nutrition growing up.
I've got more arms.
They would come up to just above your waist, basically. I mean, they're quite hunched, but yeah, they come up to just above your waist.
Is this me or Patsy?
They sound small. We could probably kill them.
I mean, sure, if you think it's a good idea. I mean, we would rather not add a bunch of days to our.
We
Sorry, the high five hasn't been invented yet. I'm really
I
sorry.
just did.
Oh, what is this?
Just touch my hand with force. With your palm. Yeah.
Amazing.
Shit.
You managed to do
I managed to just.
Nice for cameras.
You managed to do it simultaneously, right by obscuring one camera, out of the view of all the cameras, and right next to the microphone.
Christ
That's
alive.
technically
Apologies
not
for everyone.
All right, Shannon, I think you're going to have to give up inspiration for that one. No. Amazing. Well, I mean,
we could say to each other some days and a little bit of you scratch our bags, we'll scratch yours.
all right, fair enough. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I just realised I'm playing the wrong ambient track for this this setting, but
What do you talk what?
Crickets here.
I don't understand what you're saying.
sorry.
So many crickets.
Sorry.
That's what we've been eating.
Whatever. It's good enough.
Those catchy big grasshopper things. Those are crickets.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Praying mantis, but yeah.
Those
They
are
buzz?
effectively the same thing.
Do they
Right,
buzz?
this is just violent crickets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Fun fact.
Crickets with anger.
well, okay. I mean, this is sure. Right. Okay. Well, shall we go?
Let's go.
Um,
What do you think, other one? What are your names?
Oh, I'm Sprig. This is Gogon.
Hebabus.
Hello, Babus, and
Those sort of people.
Tetsu.
Tetsu. Brilliant.
Double harbour up to the third.
Brilliant. And
Dog.
dog.
Steph.
Right. What's the dog called?
Dog.
Yes, I know it's a dog. What is it called?
Steph.
Right. Is the dog called Dog?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Dog.
Looking forward to this trip.
Sorry.
No. Right. So you head back that a ways. You come to the valley they talk of. You're kind of on a descending slope into it. It's flanked by bluffs that are just kind of over 14 feet at their tallest. And you can see kind of at its middle of this valley, there is a kind of scattered pile slumping against the right side. Cloth flutters over broken debris, or are they broken bodies?
Spooky.
Find out next time.
Yeah, so we're over there. I mean, we approach and I mean, look, watch, and you do wait a minute and do see kind of some disturbance scatters rocks down the side. I mean, look, they're there. They're not too smart. They'll notice us soon enough and start demanding we play. And then as he's speaking, you hear a kind of echo through the valley. Yeah, well, there we go.
Yeah.
They haven't said what the toll is. I think they just learnt the word toll and figured we would give them everything else. I don't know. Right. Well, I mean, you seem to know what you're doing. What are we doing?
I just walk into the.
Yeah.
Christ. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
me
not.
too, I think.
I
hang
pay
back.
the toll, just come down and get the money.
Get the toll.
Get the toll.
Give me a persuasion check.
14.
Okay. How far do you get in before you start talking about.
I think I do that pretty immediately.
See how dumb they are today.
So like that 20, we've actually counted like the Archimedes of statues.
Maybe some giant like screw device or something.
Sorry. How close do you get to the merchant caravan?
Well, I start saying that, and I guess I start advancing forward.
Sure. Okay. So kind of looking around, they kind of as you shout out loud this, you do kind of detect a number of disturbances on the kind of ridge around you where you suspect there are quite a number of them. You do think there's at least a dozen here, if not more. And you saying, "Come down here, we'll pay your toll." Kind of echoes.
Listen, I'll just
Right.
I'll get out. I'll sort of hold my wood skin, saying, "Do you want it or not?"
So far, by the way, it's just you two who have gone in, right? Everyone else is hanging back.
I'm hanging, and Stev's there as well with dog.
And the dog as well.
I'm hanging back.
Not much of a survival instinct on these two, is there? I mean, we consider scaling the sides, but obviously, if there's at least 6 on either side, that poses a bit of a problem for us. But
Yeah, well, I've got a long bow, so I'm planning on hanging back and.
all right, well, okay. I mean, it must be nice.
I'm just gonna start rather than moving towards the thing. Like I'll sort of banana towards the walls. How far up do we reckon they are? Where are these scattering rocks from?
40 feet up is the wall.
40 feet up.
We'll say, yeah.
If you guys come with me, we'll come around. You fight them off, but then you come to our way, and I'll hit them with range.
Well, do you have climbing gear? Because we can't climb this with our bare hands.
Use your
Sort of.
humanoids.
Stop it, Shannon! Stop it!
I have no climbing gear.
Right, I don't either. And Gogon, I don't have any climbing gear either.
Right, well then, we're going in with them then. Otherwise, what else can we do?
Well, I was kind of trying to avoid this, and then cut back to you. Well, you two.
3, 4 with the dog.
Listen, are you gonna come down and get my toll? Then I'm paying you, or am I gonna come up and give it to you?
What is told?
You're smart. You were the ones who asked for the toll. You know what the toll is. I'm here to give you the toll. Surely you want the toll.
We want everything
I will
for
give
plot.
you a full and total toll.
And we...
You know, you understand how toll is given.
Her lady as well. She give everything.
I'll give you my toll. You give me yours.
Yes. Okay, we're coming up. Gently.
Coming up.
Well, unless you want to come down.
Give me a persuasion check.
8. I'll use my inspiration.
Okay, sure.
13.
13. Such bad rolls. Okay, there is a kind of a small kind of a bunch of these rocks kind of scatter down over the bounce on the surface of this saltback, which you can see. I mean, is dead. And you do see 3 of these small little wizened forms scamper around and sort of climb down and start peeking out behind this thing. You do notice 2 of them have bows, kind of not drawn, but nooked, and they begin to kind of slowly eke closer and closer to you. One of them seems kind of burlier and healthier than the others, perhaps, and there's a bit of a kind of markings to them. You see kind of paw prints of red ochre placed on them. And they kind of are slowly inching towards you, so they're at 30 feet at this point, getting closer and closer. You doing anything? Well, we didn't manage to get the snapjaws to come down, but that is only 3.
You don't all want the toll?
If we're going to give you, you don't have enough limbs there to carry everything.
It's going to be way too heavy.
Listen,
Put here and I take and give away to... Put down!
you want us to put it down on the floor, but the toll's so fragile. Bring it and put it on the floor.
No, put down, put down!
And they start to draw these really shitty shortbows they have on them.
Okay.
I'll just sort of raise 2 vines up like that, and as I raise 2 vines up like that, kind of shoot my coil. But like, how close are they now?
I would say they're close enough. Your coil's like 20 feet, right? I'll say
That's
they're...
10. No, 7 feet actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, you kind of need to dive forward to get...
Okay, well in which case I'll get out, I guess, my my water skin, my flint and steel.
Okay.
Sort of 2 hands, and I'll
little stick on your back as well. Put it down, put it down. And your
Okay.
shiny things on you. And you.
Okay, I will pull out. I was like, look, I'll give you this shiny big shield and this shiny big sword.
So I like bulging eyes kind of slightly boggle as it like sees the reflection.
Am I walk forward about 15 feet?
Yeah, sure.
And then as I get there, I will attempt to, with my first attack action, coil the nearest one.
Okay.
Here we go, baby.
Right, I will say at this point, having rolled less than a 5 for every roll they made, these idiots, as you lash forward to grab them, that's where combat begins. It's 9:30 now. Combat would take a bit too long, I think, so we're going to start that next time. Yes. Cool. No. Okay, cliffhanger. Yeah. So, but will our adventurers survive the attack of the Snapjaws? Would they even make it to Kaya? And where is this Esper they seek? Find out next time. All right. Harry, kill the stream!
Am I supposed to kill the stream now?
Yes, kill it.
Kill it.
Thank you.
Awkwardly segue out, just with some like.
Oh God, no! Are you going to plug Lambda show again? Yeah, just do it. Get it out of there.
Well, actually wasn't. But
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, sorry.
Since you said it, tomorrow 7:30, Lambda, Winter's Tale.
What is Lambda? I don't know what
The London
Lambda is.
Academy of
London
Music.
Academy of Music and Macleod.
Well, wanky acronym. I mean, like, it's great. I love it.
I think we're starting getting sidetracked here. Say your piece.
That's it.
Oh. No. Kill the stream. Oh. Goodbye, everyone.